Hey, everybody, how are we doing tonight? May the free shipping be with you, says Kelly Goon. Well, there's nothing to ship tonight, so we don't have to worry about free shipping this evening. But I hope everyone's doing well. It's nice to have so many people in the chat before we get things started. And, I know I said in the outline today that we probably didn't have a lot to talk about, but I always end up making a list and then we'll have a lot to talk about tonight, but we won't go past midnight Eastern Standard Time. I promise you that. We've got a giveaway tonight. Not yet. It won't be queued up until we get to Jeff Wedding's segment in the calf picks section. So no, don't try to enter anything just now. But later tonight we'll show you what we're giving away, and we will show you how to sign up for that once again. But hey, good to see everybody. And I've actually got some packages to open. I didn't mention that, but a couple things came in from Nick and also something from Dino. So lots of stuff to look at as the show progresses. But tonight we're going to start off, and I didn't even mention this in the email because I wasn't planning on this, but I talked with Felix this afternoon, and we decided we would start the show off with a little segment on the recent major sales that happened of late. We all know the Tradmore sale for the Doc Strange artwork set many records, and if you read the market report for this week, you would have noticed that Felix had the most sales of the week, followed by another rep, Quan Chang, which you never see two reps going 1 and 2, let alone usually number one, and so that was pretty impressive. And so we thought it would be a good idea to bring Felix in, and we'll chat a little bit about Trad and the sale. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to throw them our way. So without further ado, Felix, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Bill. We're still floating on cloud nine over here over that sale last week. I do consider it a watershed moment, not just for us, but for all of modern art, because I don't think anything has ever come close. And well deserving for Trad. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Hey, everyone, great seeing you. But what I didn't tell you, Bill, was that was just sort of my excuse. I was going to surprise you with an announcement for Trad's next project that we were going to talk about.
Oh, cool.
Right before I got on, I was on the phone with the other party that's going to be involved, and they asked me not to say what it is just yet. So sorry, they didn't mean to tease you, but that was the whole reason I was going to come on, because I thought we were finally going to be able to talk about it. It's been in the works for a while. I'm quite proud of it. It's something that hasn't been done before. I think I can say that. And but what I will say is, he said it will get announced at San Diego, and after that, I'm sure we'll have more to talk about, and I'll come on the show and share more. But that was gonna be the scoop for Comic Art Fans channel. So.
Oh, well, that's, I guess we'll just have to wait. Maybe they can't give me the scoop before San Diego. There's probably reasons for that.
They have a lot to announce at San Diego. This is just one of them, but for us, it's a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal.
Well, that's great. I mean, again, I think anything that shakes things up and makes news, raises awareness for the artists that you work with and the creators in general that they work with as well, I think is a good thing for the hobby. I thought the whole news with Trad was pretty exciting. I mean, going into it, I think everybody, or at least I expected everything to sell out, but not knowing what the prices were going to be before going into it, you didn't know how impactful that was going to be. But
well, it's a very, it's a sub-market, right? Trad's art, and if you don't follow closely what's been going on in the secondary, aftermarket, this was just a huge shock. You had no idea. If you are someone who has been trying to buy Tradmore art, especially Silver Surfer Black art, which was his previous thing, not as much of a surprise. But I think the hobby at large, even for most original art collectors, they really had no clue. So when it went down last week, it inspired a lot of conversation on public message boards, most notably, the infamous, notorious CGC boards. But also, I hear people talking in private groups because they tell me, oh yeah, we've been talking about it nonstop. So if I can shed any light on it, if anybody wants to know any details, happy to share. I know that there are people who are skeptical or cast doubt, for example, on the cover, which was the highest dollar value item. But I'm going to scan the comment list. I think there are at least one regular of your show who tried to get it. And you can see on the back end the orders that come in for it.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I mean, remember when we had those email issues, I still get blind carboned on the orders when they come in. So I saw the level of interest when, even today's drop went off. Right. And I saw the level of interest when the art for, drop for trad happened. And I agree. There were, I think you had several people interested in the cover. So it wasn't like, oh, gee, one person was interested in buying, that most expensive piece in the for the whole book. And that wasn't true at all. So, and I can tell you, that's the only, I don't follow the CGC boards. So I don't read any of this stuff over there. I didn't know the questions, but the only questioning things that I had heard were, people not believing the cover price. But at the end of the day, that's kind of crazy when there's other pieces in that, inside the book that were in the 30s. If something sells at 30s and they're not questioning that, but they're going to question a $50,000 cover. I mean, that's just crazy. We don't question a $35,000 Jim Lee cover when Albert sells it and sells multiples in the same art drop, right? But we're going to question an art drop that you do.
I don't blame anyone for not understanding, being confused, questioning, whatever, right? Because this was nuts for modern art. I mean, this was the single largest art drop, I think, ever for any kind of modern art, for a single artist, for a single issue. This one drop wasn't just our biggest week ever. It would amount to the biggest month we ever had for a single drop. This one drop, counts for probably 10% of our gross this year.
For the whole year, right?
So, I am flabbergasted too. I mean, I didn't know how the art would go. I felt the prices were fair given the secondary market, but you never know if anybody's going to, what the reaction really is going to be until the rubber hits the road. And if it didn't sell, that'd be okay. Trad doesn't need to sell the art. And for the past several years, he hasn't wanted to sell the art at all. So if it didn't sell, it didn't sell. Really no harm, no foul. And for it all to sell out the way it did, like I said, it's a high. We're still, like I said, floating on cloud 9. Yeah, it's funny. It's mostly me. I admit it's mostly me. I think Trad is he's kind of fascinated by all. He's very grateful. I mean, he's shocked, but he's back to work. But thank you to everyone who got something, and also congrats to everyone who got something. There's only going to be we're also going to drop issue 2, and so between the 2 issues there'll be like 50 something pieces, which, as it turns out, is the same number, roughly around the same number of individual Silver Surfer Black pieces that are out there, and everybody knows how tough those are. And when we're all done with the Doctor Strange, it's going to be the same number of pages out there, and if you've got one, you are one of a small number of collectors who got lucky, I guess, who were successful.
Right. The the one thing I would say, and I'm sure everybody would agree, is that typically when with most of your art drops, your prices are always pretty fair. You could always go after what you think is maybe fair market value. And I mean, and I'm saying this generally across the board with all the art drops that you do, right? And this was a case where you could actually go in and, it's not speculate, but put things at a price point that is at what you feel is market value for that, where you don't have to feel like I want to make sure everybody gets a page, where, which I think is in a position that you approach a lot of the art drops, where you could be asking more for a Daniel Warren Johnson drop, but you keep everything relatively fair.
You know what? And
So
that's actually, you're right, and that really puts things into perspective too. Because if you look at each page individually and how, like, the average price per page, it will seem astronomical, but Trad works very slowly. He's not prolific at all, and in the time it takes him to put out one issue, another artist could put out 10, 15. Um, if you've seen the pages, especially if you've held them in your hands, you can see the level of detail and the amount of work that goes into it. They're so precise, so meticulous, and just on that basis alone, uh, the prices are fair. There's very little of it. I mean, a lot of my guys are on monthly books, and there is going to be a decent supply. Or who, if they're not on monthly books, like Clockwork, they're going to have a limited series every year or two. But if you look at Trad's history, he takes his time. He's very much a perfectionist, and we sort of alluded to this because we did a live stream with Trad a week ago. And a lot of artists face this reality, especially the ones who work super detailed. Like Bernie Wrightson, very famously, he wasn't careful with his health, and it affected his output later. That's legend is that Frankenstein sort of broke him, right? Well, Trad is similar, only he's aware of that pitfall. So he's doing everything he can to avoid it. So he's not, doing a lot of sketching as much as we'd like to for the fans. He's very careful and deliberate when and how he draws. He's very conscious of his health. So there's not going to, I don't think that rate's going to increase going forward. There's not going to be that much more. He's not going to turn into a monthly artist, in other words, it'll just come out when it comes out.
Right, but so this was one of those opportunities where you could actually go in and price things at what you felt was right, and whether that looked aggressive or not, it was where you thought things should be, and I think that was the right thing to do on a drop like that, because it wasn't a book that had come out a month or two ago. It was something that had been out there for for quite a while, had achieved a lot of great notoriety, and you priced it accordingly. So kudos to you both for giving it the respect and the pricing levels that I think that it was deserved. And of course, everything sold out, so you were right. You might have even been a little low at the end of the day. You never know, but I mean, it set all kinds of records, so you can't. There's no questioning it. At the end of the day, I mean, for those so those who do question it, what there's not a whole lot you can do about it. There'll always be people who feel like there's things going around in the hobby that are manipulative or whatever. But at the end of the day, these things, you can't get more transparent than an art drop on a rep site.
Well, so there historically speaking, and even up to the present, there have been markets and submarkets that have been manipulated. And
sure, but not from the reps, though. You know what I mean? It's like you could see that in an aftermarket for any number. I could come up with a dozen scenarios where you would do that, but you wouldn't manipulate an art drop for a rep and repped artist just because that's a first.
Anything you do like that, especially for new art, modern art, that's short term. It'll all come out in the wash soon enough. With our guys, it's all organic, and again, it's just simply a function of demand. I noticed there are a couple of questions, so if you don't mind, Bill, I'll answer them real quick. Sure. Jason D'Ambrosio wants to know when his little DWJ will be mailed. Jason, soon. You have my word. If you watch my unboxing live streams, you see the sheer volume of art that comes in. It all has to get scanned. That takes time. There is a scanning queue, but once stuff gets scanned, it comes to me. I contact everyone, for example, with sketches or commissions, confirm mailing addresses, and they'll go out. But don't worry, it'll happen. Mr. Easy Go Lucky asks, Trad doesn't have regular deadlines. Well, the books, he doesn't work on monthly books, so no deadlines like a monthly artist. I mean, there are not deadlines per se, but dates, target dates he likes to hit. But he very much works at his own pace, and the publishers are fine with that because like Silver Surfer Black wasn't necessarily it is continuity, but it wasn't like super important to the continuity at the time. In Doctor Strange False Sunrise, definitely not continuity. It can come out whenever, it'll come out whenever it comes out.
Mm-hmm. And Marcus wanted to know if you were going to have an SDFC this year.
Of course. That's like Comic Art Live. It'll be like clockwork.
Exactly.
And speaking of Comic Art Live, I'll also say that very happy to participate in our fifth or sixth Comic Art Live panels, and guest this time is going to be Nick Klein. Nick Klein that we've had on a panel before, but we're going to announce something. His new project, which I can tell you is relaunch of The Incredible Hulk, the proper Hulk title, not whatever adjective Hulk or adjectiveless Hulk. This is The Incredible Hulk. It's a bit of a big deal, and the love and attention that Nick put into the Thor pages. They had to be perfect. Not different from Trad because Nick's a monthly artist, but still he killed himself on each page, and collectors, our community has taken notice, and so his success is totally well deserved. Well, he's taking it up another notch with the Hulk art, which you'll see for the first time at Comic Art Live, and this is a surprise announcement that Bill didn't know. Nick was actually able to do a few sketch pieces that we'll have on the show, and it'll be Park Claim show. So you get to check out some art and also claim some great Nick Klein art.
Well, that'll be exciting. We've got you at I don't have the schedule in front of me. 3 p.m. on Saturday, I believe. 3
p.m. Eastern time. It'll be noon my time.
Yep.
And it'll be like super late Nick's time, but he's up for it.
Good. Now, well, we had a really good time chatting with him last. Was it in November? Not everything starts bleeding together now. Was it in November or May when we had him on last? When he was talking about Thor and showing off some of the original art from that. Yeah. Marcus is joking with you when he said Felix, I can't wrap my brain around these prices. He's only into Kirby and Miller.
He's I think he's making reference to the CGC boards, which tends to skew older nostalgia type collector. And there are people, this is a common thought, right, for collectors, which is, this is new art. I'm not paying that much for new art. The artist is still young, and there's gonna be more supply later, which is absolutely reasonable and logical. But I would also say that if this was 1980, you'd be passing up John Byrne X-Men art. You'd be passing up Frank Miller Daredevil art because artists are still young and they got long careers ahead of them. There's going to be more work, and you would wish you had a do-over. I'm not saying that any of this art is going to be like John Byrne X-Men or Frank Miller Daredevil. Only time will tell. But if I was buying art in the 80s, a couple of favorite things would be like Nexus and Mage, which have not done John Byrne X-Men or Frank Miller Daredevil kind of prices. But that's what I would have bought, and that's what I would have kept, and I would be totally good with that because that was my opportunity to buy it. Once someone else buys it, it's gone, and you may never have a chance to get it. So regardless of what might happen to the value, it's really the opportunity. Your best opportunity to own it is now.
No, I agree. I would have been buying a fair amount of Mage and Elementals art back in the 80s. And
Elementals, me too. Me too. Elementals for
yeah,
sure. For sure.
right.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't be too far ahead, value
No,
wise. But
no.
yeah, I would have missed out on all the Miller and the Byrne X-Men stuff just because I would have been in the mindset that oh well, I can get one of those another time. But I really want those Elementals and Matt Wagner Mage pages. Yeah. Well, that's how it goes, right? I mean, that's the thing. And I'll be honest, I tell people a lot here on the channel that sometimes it's always better to be the second buyer on a piece, when something drops, because
Well,
there's
that's true.
you know
That's true too. But you may or may not get that chance. If you're lucky.
exactly.
Yeah.
There are I mean, there's a lot of you can argue it both ways, but because you've seen a lot of a lot of modern covers go for many different artists at a great rate, and then if somebody tries selling it, say 12 months down the line because they've got their eye on something else, sometimes it's hard to get that first price out. That's the purchase price back out of it 12 months later, no matter who they are. I mean, even if it was a Jim Lee, you might have a problem selling a $35,000 cover for $35,000 a year from now. You just never know. But I mean, in certain markets, that the truth doesn't hold water.
If you look at old catalogs, old ads, whatever, like John Byrne X-Men art was expensive. I mean, it was new art at the time, and it was comparable to what older art was selling for. And I'm
True.
sure there was a lot of resistance and pushback. But if you bought, like, say, John Byrne X-Men art in 1980 and you tried to resell it in 1981, you probably didn't do great. You probably took a loss. I mean, again, only time will tell. Mikhail made a comment that said Klein's finishes are top of the class. And Mikhail, wait till you see the Hulk art. And I'll also say that Nick is working on a monthly book, but he is putting so much effort into this. He will not be on every issue. I mean, they've got actually an excellent fill-in artist, and I'll wait. I'll let that be the official announcement to happen. But he will come back, and when he comes back, they're going to be introducing a new character that I think is going to be very, very well received. I think fans are going to love it. I think it's a great idea. It's going to be like Cosmic Ghost Rider, that sort of thing, like a new character that people fall in love with.
Yeah, I'm reading the chat too. They're making some fun points in there. But
Stanley asked, "Can Felix please do a lot more podcasts?" Stanley, I have more podcasts planned. This year is my daughter's senior year, and then she heads off to school, and I want to spend as much time as I could with her. So things like the podcast I kind of put on the back burner, but it's not gone. It will come back, and I've got plans for it. But thank you, Stanley.
Stanley he likes content, and the longer you run your shows, the better. That's his perspective on it. Black Viper of Dorn asked if any of Felix's guys were participating in the mystery sketch. No, I actually never asked Felix about that. I just figured his guys are too busy and couldn't do it. But maybe in a future show. You know what those are, right, Felix?
I do, and my guys aren't timely enough.
Right. Well, that was I know they're busy. Because at the end of the day, trust me, I thought about going to you being like, can't we just get a couple of your guys just to do one? Because if I was able to lift a couple of guys,
I would do it, except it would hurt your brand because they would not turn them around quick enough.
Well, that was always what I figured. So that's why I've never asked. So there you go, everybody. I never approached Felix about it because I just felt like I know his guys are too busy. So it's just how it goes. There's a lot of reps I haven't approached or artists. That I actually had two artists email yesterday saying that they would love to help me out with it, but we're so far along. I guess I could probably add them in now, but it's just always good to have a couple extra names in there. I think it'll sell a few more slots, and at the end of the day, it's all good because it does help CAF a little bit, and it gets some money into the artist's hands. So I like doing them. I think it's a lot of fun. We've made a lot of great art in the first two ones that we did. So I'm curious to see how these new ones come out. Dan Brereton is doing a few. After we did an art sale show with him, he agreed to do a couple, and I'm sure whatever he paints will end up being really, really awesome for $200.
Wow, that sounds like a really good deal.
I agree. I agree. I think everybody's gotten something. They've gotten their $200 worth. I mean, how often can you get a piece of art for $200 these days? Even if it's on 9 by 12, it's just not that easy. So anyway, we have a good time with it. So what was else out there? If I saw lots of interesting thoughts out there, but yeah, maybe one day. Let's see. I thought Moy had some nice. Moy did have a lot of nice artwork in his last drop, Michael.
He always has nice.
He always does. Exactly. I only worked.
I think what's happened is Mike and Anthony, they don't have art drops anymore because they sell everything through dueling dealers.
Yeah, it's a different marketplace these days.
Back in the day, especially a Romita Man drop was super exciting, but things changed. They found a better vehicle thanks to you. They if I can say, they owe you a lot, and I hope you're being compensated fairly, Bill.
I feel I am. I've got it. My art collection is the greater because of it. I can tell you that. I've taken most of that in art, and I'm pretty happy with. A lot of the stuff I picked up in the first couple, like in the first year, has doubled or tripled in value, and so I feel like I'm much more. I'm more sensitive to the art market than I ever was before. So, but I agree with you. I think that those drops always were fun, right? That we just don't have them anymore. I know that Mike did a pre-San Diego art drop last year where he showed off a couple $1 million in art he was going to bring, and so we're actually going to do the same thing late in June. We'll do another one of those. So it's sort of like an art drop, basically showing off all the big stuff he would be bringing. And but I get it. And I know there's a lot of people that don't like that don't want to watch a YouTube show to buy their art, that lament the days, and that they're sad that the regular art drops aren't out there anymore from guys like Mike, and Anthony. But it's times change, right? We have to kind of roll with things. And
I think they both do a lot better through the dealers.
Oh, I think they do. I mean, do you think Mike gets any fewer calls every week questioning him about what did you get in the last day or two from art buyers? No, of course not. Probably he might even get more because he's expanded his buyer base. So I don't think it's hurt his business at all. And
no, it's a bit of boom.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree. I mean, and they've been able to move stuff that they couldn't move before, right? But especially on the lower end stuff. And we've done these website offer sales shows. I mean, Anthony did over $100,000.
Yeah, because when you have the kind of inventory they have, stuff gets lost in the shuffle. It's just, and they're able to showcase it on the dueling dealers. So it makes a big difference. I got a question from Ben H. When are you going to bring Bilquist to a show stateside? Felix, Ben, she doesn't like to travel. She doesn't really do any shows. She doesn't even do any shows in Brazil. She's very, she's a bit shy and introverted. Just how it is. I'd love for her to come out, but I'm nothing planned. It's gonna totally depend on her.
Well, that's yeah. I mean, you can't force an artist to travel when they don't want to. And I think Felix, if we're going to be doing the art show in Orlando last weekend in February. I know you said that if you can, you're going to come out to support it as a collector. So I do fully expect Felix to be there. I know some people are asking if I had asked if any of his artists were coming out. I know Aaron Connolly's in Lakeland, so he's like right next door.
I've been talking to Aaron about it. I'm working on a couple of guys, but regardless, I'm definitely going to do my best to make it out there.
Yeah, I hope I hope you can be there, and if Aaron's there, I'll be happy with that. And if anybody else can make it out too. I mean, we're not going to be selling tickets or releasing hotel rooms probably until after Comic Art Live happens, just because I've got so much work to do leading up to the virtual show. But I think probably before the end of May, we'll have all of that information out there. I'll be able to talk with people about what we have available we're going to try to limit. We're sort of going to limit the number of tickets we can sell, because I don't want to get overwhelmed in a first show. So we're gonna, it's going to feel fun and exclusive, and you can tell all your artists that we're definitely going to feed them. We're going to take care of lunches, and we're doing a reception on Friday, so that's got their dinner, and the art auction is going to be on Saturday, and we're going to have food for that. So pretty much, if anybody coming in that's an exhibitor will be fed from the time they get there on Friday till when they leave. If they were leaving Sunday, they would have been fed every moment by us. So it's the one thing I got was, that just treat everybody with respect that you have that's an exhibitor, and you'll have a good show. It'll make people want to come back. And so, that was one thing going into it. We looked at it and said, these are things that we want to make sure that we take care of for people who are taking the time to come out to our show, and we want to treat everybody very well. Even the attendees, the collectors that are coming in are going to be happy, I think.
Great. I've taken a bunch of your time already, Bill. So thanks for having me. I'm sorry I wasn't able to give you the surprise announcement, but San Diego is when we'll do it, and if happy to come back and talk about it.
Yeah, let's plan on having you back on right after that if we can. We can talk about whatever this surprise is, and whatever else new you have.
I don't want to get everyone all worked up. It's not like a great surprise, but it is, sort of Trad's next official thing that will be coming out, and it was a bit of work to make it happen, and it's sort of the first of its kind. So yeah.
Well, that's exciting. So when we do it, I assume we'll be able to show off a few images along with it to kind of explain it better and show off kind of what his work is looking like as part of that project. So cool. Yeah, the hype is killing me too, Marcus. All right, Felix. Well, listen, we didn't really get we talked a lot about how that went. It's unfortunate maybe that we get some questions in the hobby with regards to pricing and those things, but I mean, everything was well earned by Trad, and of course yourself as well. And I think it's fantastic, and I couldn't be happier. I mean, I think that these are all positive things that happen in the hobby. We can lament the prices going up and all those sorts of things, but I think it's always, at the end of the day, going to be good for hobby. There's always artwork that's affordable out there. If you can't afford to Trad more, there's a Nick Klein piece, or there's something there's something somewhere else you can get. So it's but to me, these are good things that are happening. It raises awareness of the art form, and in particular the creators who are making the art, and I think that's always a positive for all of us.
All right, guys, thanks for having me. Awesome to see everyone in the chat, and I'll just keep watching from the back.
All right, Felix.
Okay, bye, guys.
All right, so there, a surprise to get us started tonight. Onward and upward, says Kazra. That is very, very true. So yeah, I don't even know where I should go right now. You know what? I feel like opening the packages, even though I had that like further down my list. Since I've not followed the schedule precisely the way I had going on to begin with, I'll just go ahead and do that. Let's see if people are willing to pay those prices, they would treat. Yep, I get you, Alberto. That is very, very true. You think it's crazy, but others not. Well, it is. You just never know, Alberto. I understand. So hey, I've got 3 packages here to open up, and 2 of them came from Dynamic Forces. I think those of you who would have watched the Fat Jacks fundraiser I did a few weeks back probably know what these are. But let's see how they look. I'm all right. I'm going to take it out of the bag. So this was the Ken Hazer piece that Nick had done for my birthday, and for those of you in the know, it's probably my favorite Thor cover of all time, even above Simonson's first book. Let's see, get this over here. So look at that. That is pretty darn awesome. Man, I love that. That's going up on the wall. I know they make those comic book frames, so I think this is this is a perfect sketch cover to add to the wall. Thank you, Nick. This is it's gorgeous. It really is. I'm so happy with this thing, and it was such a surprise because it was a reference to the show before that, where I said I'd mentioned that was probably my favorite, certainly my favorite Kirby Thor cover of all time on the run, and then to get this is pretty fantastic. So thank you, and thank you, Ken. I can't tell you how happy I am to have that. Let's see here. Around, get this other one open here. Yeah, Ken Hazers, man, he is awesome. I don't know how he is able to get so many of those done. He is pretty fast. Let's see. Pull the tab here. Now these should be. Let's see. So Comic Art Boston, I'd mentioned during that show that my favorite. Well, I guess I'm not going to get these out of here. Well, I could. Do I have a knife? Yeah. Let's see. I mentioned during the show that two of my favorite Peter Parker Spider-Man stories were shown, and Comic Art Boston bought them for me. They were. Let me get this thing out here. Extra tape. There we go. So it's from 26, 7 and 28, actually. Two of my favorite stories from the run, Peter Parker. I'm buying these at my local drug mart in Brunswick, Ohio, back in the day, because we didn't have comic shops in the late 70s that I could get to where I could ride my bike. So I could get over to the drugstore, and that was where I bought my comics. And these two stories, honest to God, are probably my two favorite Peter Parker Spider-Man stories of all time. So thank you to Comic Art Boston for picking these up for me. I can't thank you enough, man. I'm gonna read these after the show. First Miller Daredevil, is that what it is? Is it? I don't know. It could be. All right, and now Dino sent me something. He texted me today. It was arriving, and it did. It arrived. So let's see what this is. Okay. Oh boy. Wow, we're going to be able to use these and after when we do the next auction recap. I hope you got some of these sent out to everybody, These are great. Man, Albert needs a set of these. Okay, so when when we're doing the oh boy, when we're doing the next Heritage auction recap, and and Nick Ferrucci's going on about something, who knows what, Albert will hold up one of these. Or I guess, well, we should probably go next the other way, right? It should be over here to move it along. Got that. We've got a Went Too Cheap. That's got an Albert Moy logo on it. What do we got here? Oh, Nikki B fell through the cracks. It was good value. Or the Jewel auction highlight. Nick, my goodness. Your own paddle there. Let's see. We've got of course, a Falcon. Full figure, action, large, central, original costume, and a notable artist. And Dino has laid down the law on what makes a worthy artwork a Falcon. And one and done from Dino. As we all know, Claim 15 Dino will live on in infamy forever as something that happened on this channel and was fun. What do we got here? A strong price. I like that one. Heritage likes it when we show off that one. Great buy. Everybody. Well, the thumbs up is coming from the collectors. Maybe that's not doesn't make the auction houses happy. But here we go. We've got a winner. That's always good. If Dino picks up a few things here or there, we get a few things picked up by Nick every show, Mike, and sometimes Albert too. And then here's when they're sad. They were the underbidder. Albert says that a lot, and I don't know what that says about Albert, that he's always the underbidder, seems like, on a lot of these things. I mean, at least he drives the price up. but he's not willing to go the extra mile to get some of those. So I'm going to definitely show that one. I can use this on Dueling Dealers every once in a while. Look at that. Are you kidding me? Or a doozy, of course. And last but not least, these are ones that I can hold up. Look, you've got a wall-worthy one, and I say thee nay. So there you go. Wow, Dino, these are awesome. And when is the next Heritage auction? It's in middle of June, second week in June. I'll have to go check. But yes, and they're all laminated. Lamination sensation, says Marcus. Thank you for that. But Dino, these are fantastic. I hope you've sent a set to the other moderators of those wonderful recaps that we do. Those are awesome. Not what I was expecting. I had no idea what was in there, but that was certainly not what I was thinking I was going to get. Shill, Anita No Skull sign. Yeah, well, you can't ask Dino to think of every single paddle that could possibly be needed. We can always make up some of our own. What else was in here? I wasn't paying attention to the chat. MODOK is always the bridesmaid, says Cosra. That is very true. What are you going to do? Not one of my top favorite books. Bill, when can we see the birthday poster? Oh, that's a good thing. Yes, I actually have queued up here in the studio tonight. Here, let me highlight that for you. There you go. I hope you're watching, or you're watching the show tonight on a big screen. You can see the wonderful, it's almost like a giclée. It is a framed, well, it's not a framed piece, but it's on stretcher bars, so it's printed on canvas. Look at that. I mean, it's probably got 55 of collector photos here from people who've been on the show before. Well, maybe not 55, but close, but definitely close. I mean, remember, you can see Aranga, he got to be Nightcrawler. Poor Chuck Arnold, he's Puck. I don't know how again, Dino picked these, so you can yell at Dino if you don't like where your whose body your head ended up on in here. But I got put on Thor. That's all that matters. And Nick, of course, got put on Submariner. So very fitting for that. And Wingo, of course, Black Spidey, put that on a dartboard. Yeah, I don't know. I do not know. Look at that. But but yes, I still have to get this thing on the wall. Am I on Cyclops? You should have been. I don't know. Were you? No, you were on. Who are you on? I think you might be on North Star. I can't tell from. I should just turn around and look at it because it is behind me. But who was Cyclops? I'm not sure. Did Cyclops even make it to this artwork? I don't remember. He must be on here somewhere. Let's see. How did Alberto not get on Captain America? Well, I don't know. But James Siegel did. Let's see here. Oh. Cyclops, is he in here? He's got to be on this thing. Wolverine's there. Got the New Mutants. Josh Flanders is Power Man. So, yeah, we got a little bit of everybody on here. But so where is Cyclops? Is he not on here? I don't know. Dino would be able to tell us. I don't know. I don't think he is. Don't think he is. Oh, no, you're right. It is Cyclops. It's in a different costume. No belt. So, Dino, you got him. Dino, that's yes, Marcus is on Cyclops. How appropriate. That's perfect. Man, that is awesome. So yes, this thing has to get on the wall sometime very soon. But thank you for that, Dino. Jeff, feeling so left out. Are you really not on there, man? I'm sorry. I don't think Ken's on here either. So you're in the same boat as Ken. I mean, there just weren't enough, bodies to go around. Maybe on the next one. I mean, you think about it, Anthony's probably he's Cannonball. He's mad that Snorrick got to be the Thing. So, that happens. It does happen. But next time we'll do it on a poster that's got at least 300 characters that we can put mugshots over. Double up the heads. You've got it, Mr. Easy Go Lucky. Dino, I support all the choices. Yes. Yeah. Well, there you go. I'm glad everybody likes this. I love it. And Dino, thank you so much. Showed this to Maureen the day after the show, and she loved it as well. She actually said I could hang it up on the wall in the main house rather than just in my office if I wanted to. So she loved it too. And Wingo does look so happy. Well, of course, if he actually got to spin a web and sling around right like that, of course he'd be happy. All right. Here, let me swing this thing off of here. So what else we got here? We got lots of stuff still to go here. 45-minute mark. All right, I'm doing all right time-wise. We might as well. I've got a video here. Cesar Alvarez sent me. He'd asked me. Well, Cesar bought something on one of the live streams that we did, and we were emailing, and he said that I don't remember when he said he was in Tokyo, but he told me that when he was there, he went to see the there was a Snoopy exhibit there in Tokyo that is like a temporary installation. It's part of the main Charles Schulz Museum here in the States, and unfortunately I don't have a link to it. I should have had one. Sorry, everybody. But if you Google Charles Schulz exhibit Tokyo, you can read all about it. But Cesar was there. He had shot some film footage and also some still pics while he was there, and asked me if I wanted them. So I gave him a Google Drive, and he uploaded everything, and I put together a small video of that. Essentially, let me see, he wrote a little bit about it. He said it was an extension of the Santa Rosa, California Museum, 40 minutes outside of Tokyo by train. And there were 3 floors to the exhibit, and the main floor that we're going to see from most of the video clips here and the photographs contained the artwork. There were many Sundays and dailies as a part of the show, and some really large statues of Snoopy that you're going to see in here as well. And then he got a few photos from outside and a few other photos and video clips from inside. And I think I've got a longer version of this. This one's only about 5 minutes long, but I think the full version is about triple that. So I'll be posting the full version tomorrow. But you can watch this one now, and it looks pretty cool. I've never been to the one here in the States. I've always wanted to go. I actually was I had emailed with the head director of the museum a year ago, and we had kind of agreed to get them on around the first of the year and talk about the museum, and I kind of lost touch with them, and it's totally my fault for not following up with them. But when Cesar showed me this, it reminded me, got to reach out to them again and try to get them on here so that we can talk more about the museum. And again, we're always talking about trying to get more exhibitions out in the world, and here we have a permanent exhibition of Charles Schulz amazing work. So here is all the clips and whatnot put together by me, taken by Cesar. I hope you enjoy it. Pretty good, right? Yeah, I should have Googled it while that was playing. But again, you can learn more about it just by Googling the Charles Schulz exhibit in Tokyo. And I should, if I'm smart, put a link into the description of the show after we're all done here so we can see actually how long it's there. I do know for sure that it is temporary. It's not a permanent exhibition. So maybe it's a year. You never know. Thank you, Caesar, for providing that. Yes, Rick Welch thanks you as well. Cool video, Caesar. So thank you. And everybody knows whenever you're out and there's an event like that of any kind that you think would be noteworthy for all of us here, myself included, everybody in the chat, we'd love to see anything that we feel is related to our hobby. So please take some photos. Even if we were just going to show a few stills from whatever exhibition you might have stumbled into or whatnot, that's fine too. You don't have to shoot video if you're not up for it. The only thing there is I would have wished that it was shot horizontally, not vertically. So always remember that all your photos and your videos, if you're thinking of ever turning them in, be sure to shoot them horizontally. Just presentation is best that way. But CAFCON Japan 2025. Dreams, Mikhail. Yeah, you never know. So anyway, so I'll just kind of roll into our shows and we'll talk a bit about those here. So first up, of course, is the Comic Art Live show coming up the weekend of May 20th and 21st. And of course, everything kicks off on the 19th, where we do the mystery sketch, a couple hours where the artists who have free time to come out on Friday night from 9 until about 11 p.m. We have, I think the last time we had maybe 10 or 11 artists that joined us throughout the 2 hours doing their mystery sketches. And that's how we kick the show off. Hopefully Tatiana and Mark Hay, Jiggy, and Ken will be able to tune in with me. Yeah, that's right, Marcus. that would be if we were in Japan in 2025. But anyway, so as you can see on there, they got the date, the 20th and the 21st. And I didn't think we were having a lot of people posting anything, but I can actually walk the virtual halls right now and show you that art is being posted, even though I haven't been paying close enough attention to it because we've been doing some other things. But let's see here. I can tell you how many artworks are actually posted to the show. We've got 2 weeks left to go. And so far, we only have 720 artworks, but that's actually about normal. The last 2 weeks of the show is when everybody starts posting, and really the last 3 days is when most of the artwork gets posted. So we're pretty much right where we should be at this point. If the rates continue like they have in the last 2 to 3 shows, we should expect to see anywhere between 4,500 and 6,000 artworks available for purchase. There's 720 posted right now, 92 exhibitors already. And I can tell you I've gotten about 10. I get emailed only when a new exhibitor comes in. So even though you're basically re-qualifying that you're accepting a booth, I don't get notified when you've been an exhibitor in the past. I should, but Maureen programmed it such that I only get notified when somebody who's never been an exhibitor comes in and requests a booth. So I can tell you at least 10 new exhibitors have already come in. Gabe Carino wanted to know how many mystery sketches are left. I think we're somewhere around 85 sold, I think. And we definitely have around 150 to 140 spots open. So we still have some to go. I would like to hit 140 this time around. I think last November, we reached around 105. So ideally, when all is said and done, we will be around 140. So I've got a lot of work to do to get those in. So for those of you who have been on the fence or thinking about it, I mean, we really only have. I don't like to sell them in that last week. I'd like to get the assignments out a week before the show starts. So and look, it still has the wrong date over here in the show. That's because we're inside the hall. I haven't changed the banners inside the hall yet, apparently. But this is from the current show. What do we else we got? Oh, look, 121 additional artworks on Sunday are dropping. So there you go. So that's actually 840, not 720. But there's some random art. Won't show you. But if I can look in the exhibitor hall, and you did push them on Facebook, Jason. I do appreciate that. Jason by his lonesome got about 10 people to go out and buy mystery sketches. So for those of you out there who purchased them, you don't have to go to the sketch groups or whatever and post it. Just go to your Facebook profile and mention that you purchased a mystery sketch and link to it. I mean, the easiest link in here, of course, would be to just go over here, left, right-hand column. It says mystery sketch opportunity. Just copy that link right there, paste it in the Facebook. Tell people that you're participating. And if they love comic art, they should participate too. Support your local artists, support your local website, comicartfans.com. And, both go, yeah, thank you, Josh. Yeah, these things don't take a lot. And I've never been good at marketing. I tell you guys that all the time. If I was smart, I mean, one of these days, I'd hire somebody to work with me on these things. So I'm sorry to be sitting here on Seamus's booth showing off his art and his prices already. Apologies, Seamus, didn't mean to do that. But at any rate, so you can see we've got lots of art getting posted already, and I am confident that by the time the show opens to premium members only on Saturday at 11 a.m., that we should be well over 5,000 pieces of art to buy. So Marcus, yeah, go post it on the CGC board. Just don't post it in the regular board, Marcus. Make sure you post it in that marketplace board, so nobody gets mad at you. I know they're very sensitive over there on the CGC boards about those sorts of things. Yeah, and Jeff Moy, yeah, you had a good show that first time. Jeff Moy posted several pieces to his exhibitor booth in the November show. It was his first show, and I think he did pretty well. I think, didn't you sell about half of your the art you brought, Jeff? So it's worked out really well. And here's the deal, and because I've talked about this probably the last two shows, I can finally say that we are beta testing live checkout for the first time, and in so doing, I will tell you that right now I'm only beta testing it with one exhibitor booth. So I would encourage everybody to go there and buy all their art. You almost do every show anyway, but Andy and Veronica Fish are my guinea pigs for this May show. We have been working with Stripe. We've got a built-in checkout for the show, but I'm just not ready to roll it out to everybody. So I've been, Andy and Veronica told me that they would have been willing to test it out in the November show if I had it. So I approached them and I said, you guys almost sell out every show anyway. How about you let me experiment with you, and we'll see how it works out. So that will be in place. And, again, they typically sell, 85% of what they bring. So I just felt like they're probably the best people to experiment with on this. So you will be able to check out. It will have shipping built into it. And, it's not like a cart, though. Everything's pretty much a buy it now. So you'll have to, pop sequentialism, keep your fish streak going. I am, too. I've bought something from them the last 2 times. So, yes, live checkout. So, and I'll talk more about it after the show's over, because it'll be something that I'm sure, if everything goes as we expect, that it will be available to everybody in the November show. In fact, my feeling is yes, welcome to 2023, Scott. You've got that right. My feeling will be that you'll actually see it appearing on CAF even before the November show. We might roll it out to select sellers, in the classifieds. And, for those people who want to kind of participate and, utilize that service, we'll have it ready and, ready and, I don't know, raring to go. But it is all done. She's just basically going through doing last minute tests on it. So for once, we're not cramming stuff in at the last minute. We're 2 weeks out from the show, and the programming is all complete. So we feel pretty good about that. And I thought about, reaching out to a few more of you to talk, to see if we wanted to have more people experiment. But I think I'd rather just kind of start slow and just make sure it works for one exhibitor, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, I do hate to clear my notifications, don't I? I've got 116 hearts on stuff. Oh boy. Let's see. All right, come on. Fine. Look here, I'll take care of it for you guys. There you go. See, lots of people liking my artwork, and yeah, thank you one and all. Josh Flanders liked my Bill Willingham Elementals Fathom versus Chrysalis. I like that. That was one of my favorite pieces from a year or two ago. What was the question? Bill, am I getting Adam Hughes to sell again? Jason, I don't know. I remember when I talked to Allison prior to the November show, I felt she had said that, that that what they were selling there was all that they had that was out there. But I know that Adam's been doing some published work of late, so maybe maybe they will do it. I don't know. Adam and Allison are premium members of CAF, so they certainly could. So I can't really show you anything else in here as far as how things are going. One thing I will let you know, though, is that with regards to exhibitor booth setup, because we were integrating the checkout into the system, one of the complaints that people had, as exhibitors, has always been that there's a lot of stuff they have to kind of retype for all their pieces that covers like their shipping information, right? Well, when we were building in the checkout, we knew that we needed to have a default shipping rates for U.S. versus international, that sort of thing. So underneath your booth details, we actually do have a field for domestic shipping and international shipping. And you can see Maureen type this: "My shipping is the best. I use Masonite to keep your artwork safe, whatever. FDSA." Thanks, Maureen. But you can you'll be able to set your shipping rates here, and we will show those on the throughout your booth, so people will know it. You won't have to retype that, because I know everybody was always copying and pasting what their shipping rates were. So now you can fill it in here. It'll carry over to the art detail. When somebody's going to make a purchase request from you, we'll show it there too, so they're reminded at numerous points what your shipping rates are, and and how you ship, where you ship, all those sorts of things. So we're at least trying to streamline that for you, because that was always kind of a pain in the butt, but that's how we've integrated it there. Outside of that, those of you who are just mentioning the sketch opportunity, here's the link over here. It's linked up at the top of the menu and here as well, but just send people over here. We've got several artists participating. Many of them are new. Joe Benitez from TD Art Gallery's new. Who else was new? Well, Dan Brereton, of course, and I think, who else was new? I think, Rian Gonzalez from Next Comic Art. She's never participated before. She's doing it for the first time. And I forget, there's a couple other new ones in this list. But I actually had Mike Vosberg approach me, and he was like wanting to help out, but I think it's just a little too late to add Mike. But certainly if we were closer to the 150 mark or 140 mark by now, I probably would have told Mike, yeah. But he was like, he thought the revenue was all going in to support the show. So he, as a good friend of mine now, Mike reached out and said, he would be willing to help out. He even sent me a drawing of a black cat that was really cool. And I was like, damn, Vosberg actually would be a good person to have, doing these mystery sketches. And I never thought to ask him before. So I'll have to email him and tell him no, that I can't use him this year. But he should create a booth. He should be selling his artwork in there. Do some shooter sketches. Well, Jim does sketch. He might. I don't know why Ken's brought us Bill Morrison, Alex Saviuk. That's a new one. Ron Wilson. That's a new one. And Nick Varela. So I know Alex and Ron this is their first times doing it. So again, we've got a great lineup. You're going to get good art, and so we should have more people picking those up, right? They're only it's $225 for a sketch with shipping, and I've had one person buy 8. I've had another person buy 4. Another one, I think at least one person bought 5. Several people have bought 2. So go ahead and add an extra one, but please, just like Josh did, copy and paste that link right up there. You see it, I'll throw it in the chat so everybody has it. If you want to do it right now or do it after the show, get this link, copy it, take it over to your Facebook page if you purchased one of these, and just post it over there and let people know that you're supporting it, and others should support it as well. And I appreciate it. The artists will appreciate it too. And look, I did put in there, sorry, no refunds are allowed. I added that. I had a couple people back out the last couple times, way too close, or even after the show was over, that they wanted to back out before their artwork was shipped to them. I'm like, yeah, we can't do that. I know times are tough. Just don't buy them if you don't want to get them. Just put that onto your front page. All right, Marcus. And what else we got here? Okay, after that, I think that was all I wanted to talk about Comic Art Live. So what else have I got? So cat's out of the bag. Obviously, we finally named the show OA Expo. That's the virtual, well, not the virtual, that's the not virtual show that we're doing. I have not really fleshed out a website for it for everybody. but you know, I can show you that I did do it. OA Expo, OAExpo.com. Where is it? I got too many options here. Expo.com. I should put the www and always computer coming out of my stuff there. At any rate, so there it is. OA Expo has a site now. And has a name. No, I know the Megacox is in your hearts, Marcus. Why? Jason D. Everybody wishes it was called that, but it will not be. Can you imagine, you know, MegaCon seeing all you people walking around with shirts like that? I would get sued. So, you know, it would have to be done on the down low. So we cannot call the overall show anything but what we've done. Still need some Megacox shirts. I'm sure somebody out there may print some, Ian. Somebody might do that. But anyway, so yes, OA Expo is the weekend of the January 26th through the 28th. That's a Friday through a Sunday. So yes, I guarantee somebody's going to make shirts. I mean, everybody's upset about that. I'm sorry. I cannot, you know, condone or authorize the creation of anything around that. But yeah, somebody will do it. Somebody will do it, and but it won't be me. At any rate, so you know, we already know we've got Sean Gordon Murphy, we've got Mike Allred. When I did the show with Adam Kubert, Adam is also going to be there. Adam and I are talking about you know, a special potential, you know, drawing meet and greet type of thing. We haven't worked out all the details on that. Got a couple other artists that I'm talking with related to commission opportunities in advance of the show. And I honestly, I've got more people confirmed, but I'm not ready to kind of roll all the names out right now. And this weekend, I'll probably be spending a fair amount of time on the proper website for OA Expo. But if you know of any artists that you think would be interested in this, you know, we're certainly welcoming any inquiries from artists as far as just letting us know that they'd like to be a part of a show that's really focused on the comic arts. Right, we're going to have we're expecting to have between 60 and 80 comic artists there. I mean, it's a very collector focused show. I think I've been stating that all along. I mean, for me, you know, I see this as a outward extension of what we've been doing with the Comic Art Live Virtual Con for the last 3 years, and where obviously collectors play a big role in that. We intend to have a collector's alley, not an artist's alley, but a collector's alley at the show. So, you know, collectors, we feel, will be a very integral part to the whole success failure of the show too. I mean, I think that you know, having and we've seen collectors participate at a few other cons around the country. Is Heritage going? Well, how could Heritage not go? That would be the question I would ask, Marcus. They are in Sarasota, or no, they're in Tampa. I think they have an office in Tampa and Miami. So no, they will definitely be coming out. C-Link should be here because Steve is he in Tampa or Sarasota? I always forget where Steve's based, but he's here. He's part of Comic Link now, so I would assume Comic Link will be here. Comic Connect, you know, Comic Connect will be here. Hakes is I don't know. I've talked with Hakes about it. The thing is, you know, Hakes is owned by Diamond. Diamond is having their retailer summit is Tuesday and Wednesday after our show. So I would like to think that Hakes could be a part of it, and then that maybe they would stay over for MegaCon as well. I have to talk with them about it, but I would like to think all the auction houses are going to play a part in this. No, you can sell, Michael. I mean, that's the whole idea. Just think of it like what we've been doing virtually for the last 3 years with the Comic Art Live event. You know, it's the majority of the artwork that goes into that show that's sold during that show are from collectors, and then an artist centric show at the same time. I mean, it really, you know, to me, they kind of go hand in hand as far as the ecosystem of what I expect this show to become. And, you know, we're really, for those, we didn't have many people in Columbus, but those of you who did come to Columbus, remember that when I set up that, the exhibitor hall that we had, I had as many round tables in the room as I had tables, you know, around the outside of the wall for dealers, right? But the round tables in the center really made just a fun dynamic because it allowed for people to interact with each other inside the hall. They didn't have to leave it. you would see, a dealer walk over and talk to somebody who was showing off their portfolio. I mean, so it was a really fun, interesting environment that you really never got anywhere else as far as any of the shows that I've been to. And, so we want to kind of recreate that sort of feel here. But it is, effectively, we're really pushing the artist side of things as well. I mean, I'm not going to go all out as, the Lake Como has they've always had a lot of artists there, and Steve does a fantastic job with that show. I don't foresee us like getting, going in that direction for a while. I mean, it's a lot, it's a lot of moving parts to make a show like this work, but, we wanted to bring in a lot of artists that I've worked with already, like working with Sean and Adam and Mike Allred. I mean, we've had all of those guys on shows and done sales with them. So that was really the goal. I mean, I've talked with Dan Brereton, for instance, about coming out, and that's a distinct possibility. I haven't talked to every artist that I've worked with, but at the end of the day, I want to keep it fun. Andy and Veronica Fish are going to be here. I've talked with them, and they said that they have some other things going on down in Florida that they can schedule their trip around going to the show. And I think that's fantastic. I love the fact that we're able to do an in-person show that's going to support people who supported CAF, who have supported the channel, and and I think that all of these things are going to kind of feed each other to make all these things even more important. So the things we do on the channel through the direct sales, with me and an artist, to the virtual show we will still do twice a year, to the in-person show that will be a annual show every. It'll always be January, February, early, wrapped around CAF's anniversary. The reception that we'll have on Friday night on January 26th will be both a kickoff for the show and a CAF birthday party. We have to speak with the hotel about allowing Sharon to make a special cake for us, but I think as long as you can't eat the cake, we can bring it in. So we're gonna try to work that out. John Beatty is in Florida, and John Beatty already reached out to me, Marcus. So I told John he has a standing invite. I wish I could tell you, I could tell you that, sure, Jimmy and Amanda definitely are going to be here. They've been really supportive of the idea since I first brought it up to them in the fall. So they're definitely going to be here. But yeah, I'm gonna meter out the Florida ones. But there are, I've spoken to a lot of people, and I don't foresee having any problems reaching the 60 artist mark. And some of those people will be local, but a lot of those people will be from out of town. And again, lots of people traveling. Von Hawk booth, no, but you know what? I would invite Alexandra Von Hawk to come out. She is a Spitfire, and I have to tell you guys, I have not finished the video for her. I feel awful about that. It's only a 40-minute video, and the only reason I haven't finished it was because I haven't taken the after photos yet, because and I wanted to show the before and after, the damage to the corrections, and just kind of blend those seamlessly into the video interview I did with Alexandra, and I just haven't had time to do it. I really have to get it done. But would I like to have her out? Sure. I've seen in the Comic Ardell, a lot of people were talking about some conservation stuff now that Robert Dennis is behind bars for 3 years, and people are trying to find other avenues and resources for restoration work. I would love to get Alexandra more work, and I think that she should get put on the list that I know that a few people circulate regularly on whom can do restoration work in our hobby. So I'll have to who is it? Alex has that list that he always sends out. I'll have to get him to fix that. Jason Harris mentions Greg Land, Pat Broderick, Alex Saviuk. Yep, I've talked to them all, Jason. I can pretty much guarantee that. Well, I can't guarantee, but I have talked to them all, and they are all definitely on the invited list to be there. I spoke directly with Greg and his wife at MegaCon, and they were very interested because they're in Tampa, and Pat's near Orlando, and I think Alex is in Tampa too. So yeah, no, there's a lot of local artists in the area. Yeah, I got contacted by a different artist 2 days ago who was 2 hours away and wasn't even on my list. So yeah. Anyway, why was he behind? You know why he's behind bars, Marcus. Insurrection. But trying to scroll through here. John Byrne, yeah, I mean, I've asked a couple times to have John be a part of the virtual shows, and that's never worked out. But it never hurts to always ask. I can only be turned down, again. I mean, but never. It doesn't cost any money to ask every so often. I did want to ask him about Matt Wagner, see if he would ever be interested in coming. And I'm trying. I mean, I'm doing what I can. Everybody. Let's see. Wonder if Ohio State Cartoon Museum would set up a booth at a small. No, they probably wouldn't come all the way down here. They were in the news recently, actually. I think last Sunday they had something on ABC or CBS. There was a behind the scenes tour of the Billy Ireland Museum. I think if you go to Google and just Google Billy Ireland Museum and switch to the news tab, I think you might be able to find a link to that. Maybe I should dig that up and provide that and make it a little easier for everybody. But if you were curious about that, I didn't get to see it either, but I know that it was out there. I got a few emails from a couple different people who were pointing it out to me that it was going to be on. So at any rate, that's the skinny on the show. OA Expo is going to be great. Excited to see CAF expanding. Yep, exactly. I agree, Scott. Lots of just lots of fun stuff going on. And I've always wanted to do a show ever since as grueling as the Big Wow show was for all of us who did it, because that was a major undertaking to put on a show that was that was like putting on a Heroes show. And Shelton has, I mean, he must have a couple hundred volunteers when those shows roll out. I mean, it takes a lot of effort. And after that, I knew I never wanted to do a show that scale, but I always wanted to do something. And ever since we started doing the virtual shows, it just kind of was started to crystallize for me as far as like what would make a fun show. And I'd been to Comic Art Con in Jersey a few times. I've certainly seen enough video and photos from Bashar's shows on the West Coast. Those shows are fine for what they are. I mean, but they do cater more to vintage art collectors, and they don't really have a lot of artists going into it. I think that we can put together a show that caters to both the vintage art collectors and the modern art collectors, and those people who just like to get convention sketches and commissions. So is there a special hotel rate for attendees? There is, Michael Callahan. And I mentioned it earlier because of just the way the schedule is going. My feeling is that I'll be able to post ticket sales and the link for the hotel registration after Comic Art Live. So before the end of May, those will be out there. We did secure a really great rate. I mean, we figure this is peak time in Florida for people to be coming down. It's the end of January. Every hotel that was at the major resort level didn't even want us as a group, because they just felt like we were not only were we new, but we weren't big enough. They kept telling me, come back 6 months before your show and we'll let you know if we have any space for you. So I felt we're really lucky. This place, and it is the place pictured there. If you look to the right, right in this area here, I should widen the screen a little bit. You can get a better feel from the outside. The North Tower is the one that's right here. And the cool thing is that this section right here is the convention center that we've got. So when the room blocks that we have are all in the North Tower of the hotel. So literally you come down from the elevators, turn left and take 30 steps and you're in the convention. The registration booth is right across from the elevators. And this space here, that you see where it's hard to tell, but those are actually all windows. This is the east facing side of the hotel, so it's all windows on the east side, all windows on the west side, and so it's 20,000 square feet. The room's about 180 by 180. It's almost a perfect square, but tons of natural light. So anything that if you picture the best place for a art exhibit and an art show, I mean, in Orlando, I think we pretty much got the best space you could get. All the resort places that I looked at that had 500,000 square feet of convention space that didn't want me, you were basically in a cavern, just like what we get when we go to a regular show anywhere, whether it's San Diego or New York or you name it. Show me a place that actually has walls of windows on two walls. No one. So yeah, this is a pretty big space, and believe it or not, that the space right in front of that is the pool. And that blue canopy thing is the outside bar. So yeah, you could just walk out and grab yourself a drink, I guess, and go right back in the hall if you wanted. Probably not wise to do around the art, of course, but yeah, very, very good thing. And as far as the hotel rates go, we worked it out where there will be there's no resort fee, which is really common with pretty much every hotel in Orlando or Vegas. I mean, those could be like $50-$60 a night. So I think aside from tax and something else, there's some kind of small fee, I think related to just the city of Orlando. But the rates, I think with tax and all that, is around $190 a night. So that's pretty good. And I know a lot of you will probably go with a friend. So to be able to go there for less than $100 a night, it's definitely a good deal. What did Marcus say that everybody's longing about? There should be a theme ride to drive into that lake. Yeah, there could be. Well, I can tell you that literally on the other side of the hotel is the walkway to Universal. So City Walk, if you're familiar with City Walk, which is the entrance to Universal Studios, it is literally just right across the street. So, for those of you who want to go to the parks, or, they have like, I forget what restaurants are over there, the ESPN restaurant, there's a ton of places. There's a CBS Sports restaurant there. I think, I can't even tell you all of them. I should have a list in front of me. Bottom line is there's a ton of entertainment all around there. So if you come a day early, you're going to have stuff to do. If you hang out a few days after it, bring the family. You can go to the parks. Disney is literally 15 minutes down the road. So if you down I-4 from here, this is right next to the highway too. So the location couldn't be better. And I'm going to plan it out where I'm going to probably go to Universal on Monday and probably go to Hollywood Studios on Tuesday. And I'll just tell everybody, this is what I'm doing. Anybody that's staying afterwards, if you want to hang out, I'll be there too. Because, obviously there's a lot of fun stuff to do at both the parks, and much of it comic related. You think in Islands of Adventure at Universal, you got all the whole Marvel area there, all that art is drawn by Adam Kubert. Every single facade on those buildings is drawn by Adam, and he still has all of that artwork in his possession. So, and we'll talk more about that in a few weeks, I'm sure. And then you figure on the other side of the park, I forget what they call the other side of the park, but they have the whole Simpsons land. Bill Morrison, right? I think we really need to have Bill Morrison there. I think it'd be cool to have Adam and Bill part of the show, because they've pretty much decorated two of the major attractions at Universal just across the street. So, boy, oh boy, oh boy. My last name has not been abused like this since I was a teenager. Pat O'Brien's Margaritaville. Yes, there is so much to do. Star Wars, yeah. Again, there's Voodoo Donuts, says Stephen Yarish. You got that right, Stephen. And Stephen, man, you know what? The one thing I don't have and I have to get are those the meetup in the woods. I have forgotten to do that. At any rate, so we could talk forever about the show, but I'm telling you, it's going to be a good time, and I'm excited about it. Now, a couple other things before we get going here. Rich Danny sent me some video clips and some photographs. There was a get together, I guess the final get together over at Jeff Sing's place, and we know Jeff he's been a huge proponent of collector meetups for a number of years, and I wasn't aware of this. I'm assuming, and maybe Rich can clarify if I misspeak, but I'm assuming Jeff is moving, and so at least the meetups as they were happening over the last several years are stopping at that location. Maybe they'll be starting up wherever he's going. I don't know, because I haven't had a chance to talk to Jeff myself. I was going to see if he could pop in tonight, but I did not have the opportunity to reach out to him. So Kaiser says Jeff's moving as well. So he's moving. That's what I assume. So no more meetups at the usual hangout, because we've shown Rich, you've been the roving reporter. I know you sent us some photos the last time Jeff had a get together in the fall. So this was the last one that he was doing at that house. I think about 9 people showed up. I think I remember seeing Ruben in the background. I forget who else was there, but here, let's go ahead and play this short clip that's mostly photographs and a few short video clips from Jeff's last hurrah at his old house. Well, there you have it. The last hurrah for that abode. But I'm sure that he'll have those back up and running soon again. But he, like I say, Jeff, he's been awesome. I mean, he has been. I know he has like 40 or 50 people in his mailing list, so he's hosted a number of get-togethers, and he's like Benno, right? Benno's got his annual get-together down there in Atlanta, and north of the border. Jeff's been doing his for quite some time, and I agree. Rick Welch. I was going to highlight. I mentioned that myself. Probably my favorite piece of artwork on the wall out of all those pieces was the Chaykin Scorpion cover. That is, Jeff has one of my favorite collections on CAF, but that Scorpion cover is to die for. So, yep. All right, so yeah, that's quite a crib. I agree. Do another. He says he might be at another new place later this year, says Rich. All right, cool. Well, when he does, maybe we can get him to, because he did a calf. What did Jeff do an actual? No, we didn't do a calf cribs video with him because we didn't have cribs videos when I did my interview with Jeff back. God, it was over 2 years ago, right? But he did shoot a video walkthrough of his collection. So for those of you who never saw that, that video, you'd have to go back and check it out. But yeah, I probably still got it around here somewhere. But anyway, for posterity, Jeff's amazing display and the way he presents his art is out there on an old interview from about 2 years ago. So there you are. Good stuff. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Rich, for doing that. You've done these a few times, Rich, and I sincerely appreciate it. And well, let's see. I won't go there. But what we got here? A couple things. Let's hit the schedule now. Just don't have a whole lot to add that's new, but I figured, just kind of quick review. I've got Dexter Vines on Saturday for an art sale show. It's originally scheduled to be at 2:00, but something came up and Dex needs to do something else first thing in the morning. So we've moved that to 4 p.m. on Saturday. That's fine with me. Dex has got, I think he's got about 20 pieces of art, maybe 5 of them are blue line inked pieces, and the rest are traditional pencils and inks. So it's a good variety, and it's all very, very affordable artworks. So I mean, by affordable, we're talking, I think most of it is $500 or less. So, and all published, good stuff. Some DPSs in there and everything. The sketchbook show for painted art will be on Monday. Alberto will be with us on Tuesday. That's going to be a fun interview. I've got Gray Smith from Prop Store with me, Jane Frank. What else? What have I added in here? Joe Staten, I think we talked about that last week. He's on a Monday with me. Then George Pratt will be on a Tuesday in June on the 6th. Got an art sale show with Kevin Nolan, and that's going to be a lot of fun. We're finally kind of getting around to talking with Kevin a bit about what he's going to sell. Maybe next week I'll be able to talk about a little bit about that, but it's going to be good. I promise you that. Of course, we'll be at Heroes from the 15th through the 18th. We've got that big get together on the 15th. Colin had met with Shelton when he was at WickedCon and planted the idea in Shelton's ear that I should be doing some kind of something at Heroes this year. And of course, we're doing the party on the 15th. But I reached out to Shelton yesterday and I told him, that I'd like to do a comic art panel probably on Saturday afternoon towards the end of the show. And kind of be a 20th anniversary for CAF, but also talk a bit about the hobby. I'd like to have some of you up there with me, and we'll just chat for about an hour. But it'll be a good opportunity for us to do that CAF photograph and do it at the end of the show, not at lunchtime like I did last year, and we weren't able to get everybody together. We were only able to get like 35, 40 people together for that photo. If we do a panel at the end of the show, say maybe it's a 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock panel. I would like to think that when the panel's over, we can all get together and have a large group for that photograph. So that's the plan. I'll get you more details once I work out the time with Heroes for that. And then all the sales that we've got going on. And the one I mentioned is Mike Berkey doing a pre-San Diego sales event. Last year, he brought, what did he bring? He brought like $2 million in artwork the last time he did that. I don't think that date's right. I think he wanted me to move it to end of June. So I'll have to check. But originally we were talking about the 10th, but I think he wanted it more like the last Monday in June. I'll have to double check with him on that. Then a few new people that I haven't done shows with before, Andy Kuhn and Koi Pham They're going to be in there in Simone Bianchi, of course, on the 24th of June. So lots of good stuff. And now I'm going to keep that OA Expo on there all the time now, so we remind ourselves that that show is happening. And as soon as I can do ticket sales or something, I'll definitely post links on there too. Yeah, Kevin Nolan. Haven't you seen that, Jason? Yes, Kevin Nolan will be doing a sales show with me in June. Second Saturday in June. It's going to be a lot of fun. You know, we've just kind of run over just some generic stuff that I had said I thought it would be cool if he could do like pre commissioning kind of stuff. And I can't promise published work, but we'll see. You know, you never know what we might be able to work out. But my fingers are crossed that we'll be able to do something good there. And you never know. Maybe make a few other fun announcements at the same time. Just offer a giveaway and people will show up. All right, Marcus. Yeah, maybe we'll offer some Crotch Goblin t-shirts at the panel and see. Matt Moore says, what about Gerhard? For the sale show, I got to go back to Chuck. I do think that Chuck's, the last time he and I talked about a sales show with Gerhard was I think he said that it was getting pushed to the fall, and I forget exactly what the reasoning was behind that, because I think Gerhard has always done an annual sale in the spring, but I think it's being pushed to the fall. I hate to say it, but you know, trust me, as soon as I know, you'll know. I've been meaning to email Chuck, and we haven't emailed for a couple weeks, so I'll probably go out. I'll try to reach out to him soon. Jason wants to know if I'll be sending out a preview of the Vine stuff. Yes, I will. It's in the vault at the moment, so I can't open it and look and show it off. But yeah, I will have an email. What time will it be out? It'll probably be out in the morning tomorrow. I'll have all 19 pieces shown, and like I said, good stuff in there too. But I will note in the email what is whether it's a blue line or it's traditional when I do that. Let's see. And number one Marvel fan is excited for the Bianchi sale. I am too. I can't wait to see. I can tell you that Matt DiTullio, who reps his stateside sales, is going out to Lake Como, and he's bringing back a bunch of art, and that will be a part of that sale. And Bart Sears has dropped off the list. Actually, Caesar, yes, he is. But I do. That's a good. I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't have that written down. Bart Sears is going to be doing a panel with Comic Art Live. I believe it's going to be Saturday, 5 p.m. I haven't got all the panels lined, figured out yet. But Nick Klein is 3 p.m. on Saturday. Bart Sears will be 5 p.m. on Saturday. Bart is going to, we are going to sell some art. We really only have like 50 minutes to do a panel there, so it won't be a lot. But I know Bart has done some recent cover work that he is going to be bringing with him to that sale, and I don't know what else, but I do know that he'll have probably between 5 and 8 pieces of art for that. It'll be an interview art sale show, probably a little bit more fast paced and focused on the art pieces and selling the art that he's bringing. But yes, he will. We are doing something with Bart. And the only reason we haven't done another sale with him is just because he got a gig, a non-comics gig that has kept him really busy the last 6 months, and he's managed to squeeze in a few covers here and there for a few publishers, but really has not been able to put together enough artwork that we would be able to do a dedicated show just for him. So there's that. I'm glad you mentioned that, Caesar. Thank you. I think that's the only, I believe Paulo Rivera will be doing a panel at 1:00 on Sunday. And I know that Ken from 4C will also have a panel on Saturday and probably one on Sunday too. And so, I think like the last time, we've always had a fair number of panels that include art sales going on in them. And we'll always note that. I know that we always do a 9 p.m. sale show with Next Comic Art. So a lot of Jiggy's crew comes in. They create art specific for that sale. So you can expect to see another art sale that evening as well. I don't think I've really confirmed anything. It's funny, the panels always flesh out in the last 7 to 10 days. So you'd think that we have a better planning mechanism but somehow we always end up with like 14 or 15 panels, and they all happen right at the last minute. So any of you out there who think of an artist that might like to do a panel, even without art sales, you should definitely send them my way. Oh, you finally snagged a Sawe. So Jeffrey, congrats on that. Was that from the recent drop that Jiggy did? I know he had some May the 4th artwork in there. I don't recall the Sawe pieces, but I know that Jiggy's done a few art drops the last week. So congrats. I love her stuff. My daughter has one, and I don't have one yet from her, but I love her work. All right, I can scratch that off of there. Now see, time flies, but at least we're still under 2 hours here. Why don't we go ahead and talk about the heritage stuff, and then I can show the EXP stuff, because I think I hit all of the slides. You should have Dino do a panel just to point out some good deals. That's a good idea, Marcus. But would Dino have time to do a panel? Maybe on Sunday he might. But that's a good idea. I'll be honest, everybody. I have always wished that some collectors would step up and want to do, some informative stuff. But I know everybody's really busy during Comic Art Live to, shopping and selling, to take time out to do a panel that is constructive, for the hobby, whatever it may be, even if it's pointing back to good deals for the show. Larry did that great preview, right? Did we do that the last time? I can't even remember, but I know that we've done a few preview sales shows. I don't even know if I have an opening in the calendar if we wanted to do one. I really don't. We'd have to figure a way to squeeze that in. Let's see. Yeah, no. If we were to do a preview show, it would have to be like on a Sunday leading up to the show. Anyway, but I get where you're coming from. But for me, I've always wanted, a few collectors just to maybe do a panel of whatever they want to talk about, a collector hangout, at 7 p.m. on a Saturday. Talk about what you picked up. I think that would be fun. Or even as a wrap up. Collectors could do a wrap up of the show before I do my wrap up on Sunday, for instance. Hey, volunteers. Why hasn't Larry been on at all? It's the only time he's nice. Well, he was on the sketchbook show twice. I thought Larry was pretty nice then. Jason, maybe you just view Larry in a different way. Okay. Dino says he's game and open to ideas. Well, that might I'll just throw it out there. I mean, because I like Marcus's idea, but I wouldn't mind. I do my recap for the show 8 p.m. on Sunday. So, and typically we don't have a panel after 6 o'clock on Sunday. So, Dino or anybody else, if you wanted to maybe do a collector recap of this year's comic, this spring, the spring Comic Art Live, I think that would be kind of cool. You could maybe recap pieces you've picked up, how were sales in your booth, and I will be hands off. You guys can talk about it and be as open and honest about your experience at the show as you like, and then I'll get to talk about my feelings of the show after that. So it's a thought. If anybody wants to do that or anything else, I do like the idea of good buys that are out there. I think that would help drive some viewers and some sales going someplace. I think that would be a good Saturday show to do, before I do my show with Jiggy at 9. So maybe a 7, 8 or 8 p.m. show that talks about, I saw a lot of good art in this booth and that booth, and maybe get a few collectors in to talk about that. So yeah, I am very open to that, and thank you, Marcus, for throwing that out there. I think I like it. Yeah, no, it's a great idea. It really is. And at the end of the day, if it helps sales, if it helps drive people into some booths that they might not have looked at before, please do that, because at the end of the day, I don't even really get to look at the show as much as I have access to look at stuff beforehand, and you'd think but I don't have time. I just don't. We send out the best thing we can do is send out our emails to you guys to help you guys find the artwork you want to buy, and I don't get to do too much shopping except at the Fishes booth. That's one I always go there, and I'll be honest, I always check out what Dino brings. So not that I can ever, usually afford anything, but I love to see what artworks Dino brings because he's always he's typically done really well, and he's definitely buoyed the show early on with some great artworks. So and we can use emoji paddles, says Dino. All right, I love it. I love it. All right, well, these are all great ideas, and I'm always receptive to new ideas like that. So please. Commiserate amongst yourselves, figure out what you'd like to do, and bring the ideas to me, and we will make it work. So all right, cool. Well, let's keep this thing rolling then. Let me close out a couple of these extra tabs and screens I've got going here. I want to go right into the heritage picks I've got, and then I can show you the EXP presentation that Nick has put together for this week. So let me get over to the heritage tab here. There we go. Let's see. Move that. Get that over here. All right. So what do we got here? That was just the general tab. So this first page here, I'm a sucker for Thor. I'm a sucker for Ron Friends, and this is a Friends Milgram. Anthony would probably call this like it's a giant half splash, but it's a great page. You got Thor zapping Spidey. I have no idea why. I don't think I read this issue, but he possesses Mjolnir, the hammer of Thor. So is this even Thor? Maybe this isn't even Thor. He's making it sound like he's not Thor. Is this Thunderstrike? I never understood that whole time period of things. But how did a loser like this ever replace the real Thor? That's what Spider-Man says. Man, Peter Parker's always a jerk. Why is he Berkey's favorite character? Anyway. Murdoch says also, could you let some people do a picks of the show preview on Friday? Picks of but you can't see the artwork before then. That's why we had just to answer that question from Murdoch. That's why Larry actually did a show where he interviewed 4 or 5 exhibitors and they previewed pieces that they were bringing. It was definitely a cool show. But yeah, there's no other real way to do it. But I love the idea because it kind of gave people a reason to go to other people's booths early. So that was interesting. So, okay, so it's not Thor, but it looks like Thor. I still like the page. Doesn't make it any less appealing to me. Effectively, well, but if you give them read only, see, that's the problem, Murdoch. I mean, the more you show off early, the more we're all collectors. The more people know what's in there and who's got what, the more people are going to make deals before the show doors even open. And then, that just kind of negates the idea of having, it just was what it is. So I can't think of a good way to do previews ahead of time. Premium members get, as everybody knows, if you're a premium member of CAF and you've got your want list set up, which I'll go over next week, just to remind everybody how to do that. As everybody knows, at 10 o'clock each day, the Saturday art drop gets cut off at 10 o'clock. At 10:05 or maybe 10:10 a.m., we send out an email to every premium member with want list keywords, and we let you know all of the artwork that's going to be available in the Saturday art drop that matches your keywords. So that's basically like getting a text list of all the artwork you want to buy before the hall opens to premium members at 11 o'clock on Saturday. So that's the best we can do with the preview today. And, because it really doesn't give you a whole lot of time you can't get in the hall, but you can see you literally see everything that you want to see in that email. And so we do that. That goes out just after 10 on Saturday, and then after 10 on 10 a.m. on Sunday. When the Sunday art drop gets locked, we also do the same thing there. So that's how that works. I think I'm missing a few things in the conversation. Marcus, you could say. All right. Anyway, so there was my Thor piece. That isn't even Thor. I still like it. Doesn't matter that it's not Thor. Next up, I was thinking about Kevin Nolan, and then I see a Mike Mignola, Kevin Nolan Aliens page over here. And come on, you get Nolan inking Mignola. What's more cool than that? Hey, it looks like Mignola inking Mignola to a certain extent, but still, that having the two of them work together on a piece is pretty slick. So I like this one a lot. and I'm sure it's appealing to many of you out there as well. And of course, Bill Sienkiewicz. I mean, it's a Rocket Raccoon. It's Guardians of the Galaxy weekend out here. I hope to go sometime this weekend, probably on Sunday. So here you have Rocket with an oversized gun, as always, as only Bill Sienkiewicz can do. And yeah, there you go. I don't know what the size on this thing was, but it doesn't matter. It's a great Bill Sienkiewicz piece. Nolan's fills are more sharp. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you on that, Marcus. You're totally right. Look at that. It really is a nice piece. I mean, I mean, getting example. I only have a couple Hellboy sketches right now. I don't have any published work by Mignola. I'd be happy to own this piece. Yeah, even though it's Aliens, I never read it, but the artwork on here is beautiful. Mignola thins his inks. That is super true. You are absolutely right. Okay, skipping over to here. This is a Steve Rude Dark Knight page. Again, I mean, look at this. Great Steve Rude action. Love the panel layouts here. I mean, look at that. Doggone it. I mean, this is, yeah. I mean, that's just so slick. Cramming Batman in like that. The hands, he grabs the bottom. I mean, all this stuff hanging onto the helicopter. Great piece. I would, I've actually never owned anything by Steve Rude, but this would be something I wouldn't even mind buying. So I'm sure a lot of you feel the same, especially if you like Batman. And then I've got a Duncan Fegredo Hellboy piece. I mean, as many of you remember when Fegredo did the Wild Hunt, I got to see a lot of these pages when Mark Hay got them from Duncan at San Diego, and they were just unbelievable. And again, Duncan's he's just an amazing talent, and I was so thrilled when he was working on Hellboy. I mean, this stuff is just phenomenal. So, I mean, look at that. I love it. I mean, you can't go wrong. And I always wanted to buy a page from his run on there. I mean, you see Mignola in there, but it's only how Fegredo would do it. So great stuff. Really great stuff. Kind of, I think I've picked a few Wayne Boring strips before, but I just like these. I mean, this is a later one. This is from 65, but you get Superman in all three of the panels, and that's a daily. Nothing wrong with that. So I don't think I've ever owned anything by Wayne Boring, but again, this would be something worth getting. And is it done on Duo Shade board? It looks like it, isn't it? Yeah, look at that. Yep. I didn't notice that it was on Duo Shade before that, but there you go. Huh. Interesting. A couple more picks here. Jason Sean Alexander. I know Kaiser likes Jason's work. A lot of people like Jason's work. This is from Spawn, and I mean, just masterful page layouts here. I love the way he's kind of reined in the action around the characters in that panel from the first one to the second one, and just look at how gorgeous that is with the that tape there. Brilliant stuff. I don't think Jason gets the credit he deserves. He's a real talent. We've interviewed him on the show before, and it's a really nice example of his work. So if you're in the market for something by Jason, this would be a page for you. You'd be happy to have a good example like this. How big is that? I don't know how big that is. Boring loves those barrel chests. You've got that right, Rich. That is what I like about Boring's art, though, right? I mean, it's the way he drew those. Superman was just, I mean, it was different. It was very different. It's not Kurt Swan drawing Superman. Let's see here. Ryan Sook. Now it's from a Batman Dark Crisis. Of course, I'm not familiar with what it was from, but I love Ryan Sook's art, and this is a really nice example of Ryan stuff. I love this bottom, half splash. Not the Batcave, obviously, but really well done. I mean, he's just amazing. Yeah, I love this. So again, a really great example of stuff. Maybe you're not a DC fan, but if you want to get a published piece by Ryan, this is a good example. Then there was actually was there a bunch? I don't know. I think there was like 4 or 5 John Carter pages in this week's auction, and a couple of different art teams. But I decided to pick one: Carmen Infantino and Rudy Nebris. Just Nebris's inks are always really distinctive and tight. And, Infantino always had, kind of always had a very, for me, weird style. I never liked his anatomy, but, I don't know why. Call me crazy, but I just never did. But I look at this piece, and the two of these guys together made a perfect combination for John Carter. I mean, the storytelling, but in these first three panels, all the camera angles are nice, and then in the last three here. I mean, so it's an overall piece, nice 6-panel layout, a little different than the ones that I would usually pick, but again, this is it's a great example of their work, and pretty, I bet you it doesn't go for a ton of money. It's at 115 now. I mean, obviously it's got a week to go, but I like this one a lot. And if you're into John Carter, there's at least 3 or 4 other auctions this week as well. And then I picked this one. It's a Dick Dillon, Shelley Moldoff Blackhawk page, and again, just I love this period of DC art. I mean, I haven't, I don't know anything about the stories, but I don't have to like or know the stories to appreciate the art, right? I mean, I love the panel layouts here. I love the way the word balloons are handled. I love these shaky panels in here with the way they've dropped in some of the letter boxes here. I mean, I don't know what's up with these guys running like Flash, but again, artwork's great, and this is an older page, 1962. 61 years old, everybody. Just a great piece of art from two stalwarts of the industry, Dick Dillon and Shelley Moldoff. So that's a good one. Price that's at $230 right now, but I like it. I'm sure many other people like it too. Wayne Boring is underrated. Real George Reesefield Superman, says Andy Fish. I would agree with you completely, Andy. Definitely. And there were skulls in that piece, Marcus, but I don't have to show Maureen every artwork that I buy. So very, very fun. All right, let me close this one. We're done with that. All right, we can move right along. We got we're almost at the 2-hour mark, but I think we're doing good on time here. We've got the EXP preview to go through next, and as you know, Nick has the EXP every Friday night from 7 o'clock to 8:15. Always 8:15, everybody. So always plan to go a little past 8, but it's well worth it. Nick always has a great show. He's informative. He's fun. He's usually not wearing red pants or talking about Waffle Houses and those kinds of things, but he does make a fun show, and he always has a good turnout for every week that he has. I think he's been getting phenomenal numbers of thumbs ups, which we haven't even talked about tonight. I hope everybody's hit the thumbs up already. I don't check the show live, so I don't know what we do, but hit the thumbs up if you haven't already. But let's see here. I've got his video right here, and we'll just go to it now.
Hey everybody, this Friday, May the 5th, the day after May the 4th be with you, but Cinco de Mayo, and before Revenge of the 6th. I can never say that right. 7 p.m. Eastern, the Original Art Experience. We are going to have some artwork, and we're going to have a little bit of Star Wars, and we're also selling some items from Carol Flynn, George Perez's widow, with all the money going to Carol. So let's start with George Perez, and we'll end with Star Wars. We will have these last 3 Sirens pages that Carol found in the studio as she was cleaning up the studio. All the money will go to George. She had this little poster that George kept of relaunching Brave and the Bold with Mark Waid. That'll be for sale. She found a few prints of George's. Those will be for sale. And since this has 2 Green Lanterns, I may have to get one myself. And then we have the pen and ink George Perez book from Boom Studios. Yes, I think I'll have to pick up one of these myself as well. And then we're going to have Ken Hazer art. We've got thumbnails to covers. We will have covers. Darkwing Duck. We'll have gargoyles. We're also going to have, Guardians of the Galaxy opens on Friday. So we're going to have some really cool Warlock signed comics from Jim Starlin's personal collection, plus a few other books. You Gotta Love Hulk Thing with Bernie Wrightson. And, of course, one of the first best graphic novels of all time, Death of Captain Marvel. Plus, we're going to have a little bit of David Finch. Got Lex Luthor there. Oh, I'll get to that last. Got a little bit of Red Skull, Hildebrandt, Spider-Man Hildebrandt. a little bit more Star Wars, Hildebrandt, and thanks to Jeff Wedding, who donated the Star Wars Legacy. We are giving this away Friday. No purchase necessary. Plus, we will have sketchbooks from George and Carol. So this Friday, May the 5th. May the 5th be with you and us. 7 p.m. Eastern, only on the Original Art Experience. And hit that thumbs up and share. Sharing is caring. See you Friday at 7, or is it that you'll see me? Friday at 7, be there.
I always love that music, Nick. It puts me in a very happy mood. So yeah, it's interesting. Okay, so let's move right along to the CAF update now. But again, remember, EXP every Friday, 7 p.m. until 8:15. So if I'm available, I'll be tuning in as well. All right, now, I hate to tell you that my son is traveling for a Pokemon tournament, so he didn't prepare my videos for me. So I don't have those lovely videos to talk about the CAF updates like I normally would, but we can get through that without the video clips, right? We've got just enough to talk about for the CAF update. This is from the period of April 24th through the 30th, so it wraps up the month of April very nicely. Dealers had a phenomenal week. And here, I'll actually just switch over to a tab and show that off, because normally I don't think we usually show off any of the data on screen, but I'll just go ahead and add it here. Reshape this just a little bit for everybody. Top sellers for the week, as you can see, Felix Comic Art, 34 sales. I mean, that was pretty much the book, right? 34 sales, $338,000. So that's pretty much $10,000 a page on average, right? Not too shabby right there for Felix and Trad Moore. Then Quan Chang. Quan, 144 sales, $246,000. Like I mentioned, I don't think we have ever seen a pair of reps coming in at number 1 and number 2 ever before. And I don't know what Quan was selling. I mean, that's a little over 1,000 a page. I know the Quan was at he was at Wicked Comic-Con that weekend. So I don't know. He must have had done a lot of business, done some drops that I wasn't paying attention to. I'll have to do a little bit of research there, but not bad for him. And then Ramita Man, 75,000 in sales. Anthony had 32,000 in sales, and Panel Page had $17,000. The Batman Casada covers, that might be it. That might be it. Again, I've just never seen anything like that. Quan to have 144 sales, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and actually check the tape on that one, everybody, because I do not know what Quan was selling. But fantastic week for dealers. But without those two, they accounted for 580,000 plus in sales. So without them, we would have been just under 200,000 in sales. So I guess we should be happy that they did as well as they did. Gave us a great big number, 700,000+ in sales. But if we look at the top 6, like we always do, covered to Doc Strange, $50,000. You've got a DPS, $25,000. You got a splash page at $20,000. Another splash page there's some inset panels there too, but at $20,000. Then another DPS at $18,000. All of those, that is 5. So the top 5 sales all go to Felix and Trad. Then you have this Doc Strange number 1 cover, the Townsend and Chris Picciolo cover in there as well from Mike. But yeah, so there was your top 6 sales from dealers that period. Auction houses, we can kind of go through just a bit here. Heritage had a specialty auction going on, and that I wasn't even paying attention to. So it skews the numbers greatly. But that one specialty auction, 1.5 million plus in sales. I don't know how again, it wasn't their comics auction, so I wasn't paying attention. But you can see there, a Charles Adams cartoon sold for $68,000. I mean, if I ever had there's a lot of dream pieces, that I could say would be something I would love to own one day. A Robert Crumb illustration, published would be high on my list, but a Charles Adams would be right up there. And again, those are like dream pieces, something outside of, my comics wheelhouse of, Thor and X-Men and whatever else, I like. For 2 illustrators whose work I'd love to have, Charles Adams would be like easily in the top 3. And so deservedly so. And I remember not too long ago when you could buy these for like $25,000, and I still couldn't afford them. And now you're getting the good ones going for 68, but very deservedly so. But clearly there was a lot of pinup artwork in here as well. You can see a lot of Gil Elvgren pieces that finished really well. A Vargas. Can't see all the other ones that are on the list there, but you get the idea. It was a really, really awesome specialty auction that I didn't even know was going on. But as far as their eBay sales go, the top three here were kind of generic. You got a Rowena Morrill painting that was listed at $7,000. I know that it's actually sold with a make offer for around $4,500. The Keith Birdsong Star Trek Deep Space Nine piece, that one was over here, sold for just under $3,000. And then there was this Cerebus piece with Dave Sim pencils and Bowen Scott Hampton inks on it, which I thought was an interesting combo here. This one sold for $1,600. And then there was some other things in there that I skipped over because I didn't know it, but apparently Clive Barker likes to draw these dickhead pieces that, I'm not going to click on it. I'm not going to show it to you. It wasn't that vulgar, but $19.99 and 99 cents for that Clive Barker art. I've seen Clive Barker art before, but I did not know that he drew anything like that. So I'm not going to click on it, but for those of you who are curious, you can go click on it yourself. The three heritage sales that were tops last week, there was this Al Milgrom piece. Of course, I featured it last week, and you knew it was going to go high, and it went for just under 17, deservedly so. It's Milgrom pencils and inks on this one from 91, but with all the characters on there, I mean, I'm not signed in. I'm not going to bother. So there was that one, and then this one, I didn't really see it, but OMAC. I mean, I didn't know OMAC was that popular, but this one went for $7,500. John Byrne on duo shade board there, and a Shelley Moldoff Action Comics 1 recreation. Nicely done. I bet you it's probably huge. What is it? 26.5 by 40 on stretch canvas for $6,000. I mean, if you were going to get a recreation of Action Comics #1, Moldoff is definitely a good choice. And they did a fantastic job. And I mean, come on, something like that hanging in your house, you're going to be happy every day you walk by it. If you're a Superman fan, or hey, if you're a comics fan, that would look good. I wouldn't even mind owning it. Nick Brucey said the OMAC surprised him. Yeah, I mean, that was, I didn't even pick it because I didn't think it was going to do that well. So let's see. Josh Flanders says he has an Adam sign book. That's all I could afford 20 years ago. Hey, it's better than nothing, right, Josh? But yeah, I love Adam's work. I mean, he would. I'd almost say he'd be the #1 choice if I could own something by him. Just his style was always, just amazing. I mean, he was just an incredibly talented artist. So I'd sell it for X-Men art. Okay. Anyway, well, you know what it is. I hate to say it. I don't have any intro music for my guest tonight. I could play the theme that I play for Chris Norick, but it just wouldn't be fitting. I mean, if I would have had some kind of a march, well, whatever. I'll just bring my guest in, my good friend Jeff Wedding. He's at work tonight. Everybody, he's cleaned up a bit, but I'm
keeping the best internet connection.
Well, Jeff, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. Not too bad. Actually put on a little bit of a nicer shirt because I got sunburned like crazy on Tuesday, and no one wants to see the peely stuff that's going on the back of my neck right now.
Oh no! Were you doing some archaeology?
Actually, I was at the Air Museum at March Field outside Riverside in California, recording a video segment about B-29s from World War II. So shiny metal airplanes reflecting down on the back of my neck and the top of my bald head for a couple hours, not wearing a hat or reapplying sunscreen. Let that be a warning to everyone out there in CAF TV land.
Well, that doesn't sound good at all, because I usually do that just when I'm out mowing the grass or something. But
right,
it sounds like you had a good time at least, right?
Oh yeah, it was absolutely a joy and a pleasure to go down there. And anytime I can get out of the office and go crawl around inside of a World War II airplane, I'm going to take it. Whether I get sunburned or not.
Well, here I'm trying to set up. Oh, I forgot the one thing. There's that. I'm trying to set up the giveaway that we've got tonight before we talk about it. So I wanted to get it created. There it is. It's created. But so why don't we talk about this? You had told me that you told me like a month ago that you wanted to do a giveaway. I think Nick Perucci's, is he doing a giveaway tomorrow?
Yeah. So last year, as May rolled around, and for those who aren't Star Wars fanatics, May is now sort of the official Star Wars month. It started years ago with people sort of embracing May the 4th be with you as a play on the saying from the movie. But now with The Mandalorian giving us This Is the Way, we've also incorporated This Is the May.
Yes.
And May 1st, 501 is the 501st. So the Stormtrooper holiday. Then May the 4th. I'm using Return of the 5th and then Revenge of the 6th. I figure by the time we get done, we'll figure out 31 of them and get a Star Wars day for every day of the month. But to sort of celebrate it last year, I mean, a year ago, I was on the show with you and gave away a page. Also did one with Nick last year. This year's the 40th anniversary of the Return of the Jedi. Some of the folks in the audience may have gone and seen it this past weekend. It cracked the top 5 in the movie list this past weekend. So I'm giving away 4 for the 40th. So I've got one with you, one with Nick, one with Ruben on Sunday, and then I've got a cover sketch art piece with Kavi on Monday.
Oh, sweet.
So just my little bit to give back to the hobby and, share the love. So.
Well, hey, why don't we show the artwork that you're giving away today? You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So this is a page came out in a 5-issue Mace Windu series from Marvel after they got the license back. This one dropped in 2017. Dennis Cowan, one of the CAF artist friends who I think just this past weekend you did a show with. If not, it was the weekend before. Dennis Cowan did the pencils for this book. He did his pencils on board and then scanned them and sent them to the inker digitally. And so this is the inked page over Cowan's Blue Lines by Roberto Poggi. In the story, it's early in the Clone Wars. The Jedi are just starting to figure out what their role is going to be against the Separatists and their droid armies. And this sort of purplish robot here has been hired by General Grievous to take on the Jedi. It's AD-W4. I kind of feel like someone writing this might have been looking at a can of WD-40 when they came up with that name. But so this is the page that we're going to give away tonight.
Sweet.
And so that's the actual art on the left and then the published page on the right.
Very, very nice. And what we'll do is we'll take entries for through the 10 picks that Jeff has chosen tonight. And once we're done, before we start mine, we'll choose the winner. So right now we have 31 entries into the giveaway. You'll have about another 15 minutes or so to get your entry in. We've got 80 people watching, so I would expect to have at least 80 people into this before we draw a winner. But and I assume after this is all over, we can give out. You'll give out your email address, or you'll just have people contact you through your CAF gallery, Jeff.
Yeah, I think they could just get a hold of me through my CAF gallery. It's already sitting there and easy to find because my gallery is my name, so Jeff Wedding. And just shoot me a message there, and then we can work out the shipping. Awesome. And it won't cost you anything. I just need to know where to ship it to. Oh,
you're even covering the shipping, Jeff.
I'm covering the shipping. So there is something with free shipping tonight.
I know. What can we do? Free shipping is going to become a hashtag, I think.
It probably is.
It probably already is for the show. Well, thank you for doing this. I sincerely appreciate that. I think everybody will probably be paying attention to Nick's show tomorrow and Ruben's show on Sunday and Kavi's show on Monday as well. I mean, all great things. And, draws people into those other shows too. I think when there's a giveaway, I know I don't do them often enough here, but I think it's a good thing that you're doing. I mean, every one of those shows deserves more subscribers and followers and live viewers, and so these are always good things to do. Like Marcus told me earlier, if I give things away at Heroes, I'll have a nice big audience. For that, maybe we'll figure something out for that. But thank you for doing this, Jeff.
Well, I'm sure that there could be some calf swag at Heroes.
I think so. But if we start throwing poker chips out, we might hurt somebody.
That's true. Everyone just bring eye protection.
Nick Fury
I'll
eye
make it
for everybody.
on time to put the safety glasses on.
But hey, before we get started, we wanted to bring up a GoFundMe that I think started just recently, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so when I came on last year, the page I gave away was actually one that had been inked by Dan Parsons, longtime Star Wars artist when the license was over at Dark Horse. Last week, he found out his daughter has cancer. She's 18, has just started her first year of college in Oregon, and is now sort of having that life interrupted moment with the big C hitting the family. And so Dan had just reached out to me in the last day or two and said they were going to start this GoFundMe to help out with chemo. Apparently, it is a form of lymphoma. I'm sure all the details are right there in the GoFundMe. But they're feeling good that it can be treated, but the treatment needed to start quickly. So she's already got her report in and has already started, and he's going to catch up with the rest of the family on Saturday. So I said I'd try to get a little shout out on the show tonight. And if anyone's got an extra couple bucks, I think this would be a good cause to donate to. So I want to thank you, Bill, for throwing this out there.
Yeah, no, not a problem. Dan's had a calf gallery for a while, on the
yeah,
site.
He's had a pro gallery for quite a while.
Exactly. So he's supported the site, and I've always appreciated that. And this is something that no parent would want to go through. So you brought it to my attention. I wasn't aware of it, but the link I put in the chat, I'll make sure it's in the show description once we're done here as well. So anybody that wants to contribute to it, please do. And every little bit helps, even if it's $5 or something, it's always appreciated. I'm sure Dan and his family would sincerely appreciate any support that we can send their way. Thank you, David. And hey, I just want to mention to William O, I see you kind of typed your enter with quotes around it. Don't use the quotes, just use the exclamation point and enter. But yeah, let's wish his daughter well. Absolutely. And the
That's
whole
right.
Strength during
successful
really
treatment and
time.
speedy recovery.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, let me see. I'm going to switch another screen here. We can get on with our picks here.
And, I must warn the audience up front.
What's that?
Because I am not Chris Norick with the artistic background, and I am not Dino with Falcons. So while I was listening to the rest of the show, I was thinking that this is going to be Jeff with sparrows. So it is going to be some pages and random remarks of wedding for tonight's show. And
there's no Hembex in this whole set, I have to say.
There are no Hembex. In fact,
that was interesting.
I can't remember this, and everyone I think that's come on after Chris has made the remark that, you agree to it, and then the reality sinks in on Sunday night about how many pieces of art have been uploaded in a single week and how many you're going to have to scroll through. And, so I kind of set myself some rules that I would help try to narrow down the sort. And Hembeck was actually one of my search terms in the last week. And there was one. And I think there were... do you remember how many pieces of art were uploaded in the last week?
I do not, unfortunately. I mean, usually we always have at least a couple thousand. I mean, so it had
that was a lot. And so I looked at every thumbnail, and then any thumbnail that caught my eye, I actually clicked on it, went and looked at the piece of art, and then copied that link over to a Word doc And my first run through, I narrowed it down to about 200 pieces. And then
Oh,
on my second run through, I narrowed it down to 25.
whoa.
And I, of course, had that filming thing on Tuesday, and I wanted to get you my picks on Monday. So that was all Sunday night. I made that double sort. And then I slept on it and looked at the list of 25 Monday morning, and I cut it to 10 with 2 alternates. And with that much art, you got to cut somebody somewhere. And there were, I think, 2 of Fred's sketch cards were uploaded last week. And it didn't work
make
out.
the
And I didn't also want to look like I was playing favorites. So, because I could have just uploaded 10 real quick, Sunday afternoon and picked all my own uploads. So,
well, we let Snork pick the thing, or I would say every.
well,
so
I
often,
do have a Star Wars piece for May the 4th. So I figured that's my conceit. That's my one. Give me.
Well, and hey, I should remind everybody that tomorrow is Chris Snork's birthday. Now, he's not a big Facebook guy, but probably a lot of you have his cell phone number. And so everybody's got to text him and wish him a happy birthday tomorrow. So, I would just encourage you to do that. And if you're friends with him on Untapped, that beer drinking app, make sure you have a beer for him and then add it to the Untapped app, and he'll appreciate that. So yes, but he deserves to have this night off and celebrate his birthday in style. So let's get on with the picks here, right? Let's see what you picked, because while I loaded up the tabs and looked at all the thumbnails, I didn't look at like the owners and things this time around. So I was remiss in that. But we're starting off with a Humberto Ramos piece in Paul Pappas's calf gallery.
Yeah. So Ileana was always a favorite character of mine from New Mutants back when I was reading the X books in the 80s and 90s. So I've started paying a little bit more attention to the new X related art, although this is Strange Academy, where she's now an instructor. And one of the things that happens with all of us is the things we would like to collect, like Paul Smith art or John Byrne X-Men art or whatever, becomes pricey. And so your eye wanders a little bit maybe to some of the newer artists working on the books where the art's a little more affordable. And so this one caught my eye just because of that connection from back when I was a comic reader. And, who doesn't love a big sword swinging battle royale of a double page spread? So.
No, I for one am a huge fan of those. So and clearly Paul Pappas is as well. Paul, he always amazes me. I think I know like what Paul likes. I think Paul just likes good art, right? I mean, for a while there, I thought he was kind of a that 80s, early 90s kind of collector, and he surprises me with a lot of the modern stuff that he buys as well. So I've always loved Ramos's work. I think this is just the inking on this thing is gorgeous. I love all the fine work in the background and the details. It's fun how he's kind of put in tighter inks the further the things go backwards, which is usually kind of the opposite approach, but they're tighter and yet they're finer, right, or lightly done, and so it really works well. But this piece was impressive. When I saw this one, I thought that this would be one that I was going to pick. So I was happy to pass and allow it to be in your set because it's a fine choice. And I love Paul always scans his stuff really big too. So, I mean, we get the best scans from him. So even Jason likes this artwork too. Number one Marvel fan likes it. Everybody likes this art. So, and who doesn't like Humberto Ramos, right? He's
That's right.
A pretty good guy. And wow, nice one here. And look, I'm adding a like. There we go. Next up, here we go. We got in Andy Wurst, who's usually known for his Spider-Ham artworks in his calf gallery, but instead we've got a Jose Delbo, Dave Hunt, Wonder Woman title page.
Yeah, so I am a child of the 70s, and I will say I now have cable television and MeTV, and on weekends I watch the reruns of Batman and Wonder Woman and the old George Reeves Superman. in the mornings when I sit there with the Chihuahuas and we veg out and kind of decompress from our work week. And this one, to me, just grabs the sort of Linda Carter era, and that couple of intro word boxes at the top, where it talks about her ripping off the doors to the secret facility, just sounds like it could be the narration intro for any given episode of Wonder Woman at a secret factory complex on California's Pacific Palisades, or an episode of Super Friends. I mean, you can just sort of hear it the way the meter is of the actual writing on the page. So
yeah, no, this is slick. I mean, I love the heavy outline in the figure too. That's kind of I don't feel like that's normal for the time, but it
seems like it's a little bit of a carryover, actually.
Yeah,
from maybe the decade before.
Right. It's interesting, but yeah, I mean, I didn't notice it before, but it does stand out, doesn't it? The heavy line work. That's I'm curious about that now. I mean, is it something that Dave Hunt was doing, or was it kind of the way they were handling the figure work at this period in time? But again,
not being a heavy Wonder Woman reader during that period. Yeah, I'm not sure.
The star on her hoo-ha. Thank you, Rich Danny's. Rich, you're so observant over there. It's that artistic eye. It's that animator's eye of yours that helps you pinpoint the nuances of the artwork that we look at.
The extra highlight of not being shaded.
That's right, exactly. Well, they're twinkling. They're stars. They're supposed to be to draw your eye. At any rate, nice pick.
Okay, I'm gonna make everyone in the audience clap. The stars at night are big and bright.
Oh boy. See, I hadn't noticed that, and then Rich Danny's just had to ruin that artwork for me.
I honestly didn't notice it either when I picked this.
You didn't either, but no, well,
but now I can't see anything else. So
yeah, that's all right though. But great piece of art, and Andy Wurst, I'm sure, is very, very happy to have this in his collection. And
absolutely.
Yeah. And I think these are hard to find. I remember Heritage used to sell didn't Heritage back in the day, and I would say back in the day, like 8 or 10 years ago, they used to sell like complete Wonder Woman stories. So you'd get the title page in there. Yeah, I know there's a lot of them out there still as sets. I mean, Berkey's got a few of them that are sitting in the bins of collecting dust. That I'm always like, I pull one out and I'm like, here's another one, Mike. It's a complete, it's in one Mylar full, packed with 30 pages in it, and on the top is always the Wonder Woman title page. He's like, yeah, put it back.
That's right. Just
all right,
later.
Yeah, so it's nice to see this one out there because it's kind of from that same era, I think, from when Heritage was selling those. So let's see. Next up, in Jason D'Ambrosia's Calf Gallery, a Paul Smith Hulk.
Yeah, I like a good square-headed Hulk. I gotta admit, and who doesn't like Paul Smith? So I know you're a fan.
I am a huge fan of Paul Smith.
Yeah. And so when Jason put this one up, it caught my eye back when he posted it. And then when I was going back through the thumbnails, it jumped out at me again. So also trying to do a little bit of an assortment. So not just all published art, but also a sketch or a commission. So, you're welcome, Jason. I figured this was a good piece to pick. So,
no, it is. I mean, I love Paul's stuff. I've never seen an art drop. I know he's the master of the unannounced art drop.
I hear about them after everything is sold.
Well, of course, you always hear about them after they've sold because no one wants you to know about them. But no, I mean, his stuff's great, right? I mean, I actually own a published page by him. I think half of it's stat, but I do own that page 1 from issue 1 of that X-Men Alpha Flight crossover. But yeah, I love his stuff. He's I mean, I'd love to get a piece like this too, because it's still he still has that same flair with his characterizations. I mean, they're just fun. I mean, his ink work is so identifiable when you see it. So, I mean, even doing the Hulk, I mean, it's something that he's not really known for.
Right.
It's unmistakably Paul Smith artwork. So congrats to Jason, and he got it in a drop too. Yeah, and guess what? Jason never pinged me to let me know there was a drop going on. So so there you go. It's the best kept secret on the internet when these drops
That's
happen.
right.
Oh, there you go. Jason says, like, I got a Thor and I haven't posted it yet. Lol. Okay, now
He'll make sure to rub that one in when he
unfriend
does.
Jason? Right, right here. So Stephen Feldman here. Let me put my like on this one. Now, this one I have to, I can't wait to hear why you picked this piece, because this is a 100 bullets page by Rizzo with nothing but one shell casing, a bullet hole, and some blood.
Right. When you talk to particularly the pencilers whose job it is to get that story laid out in a book before it goes to the inker, you have to be able to convey what's going on, and you have to be able to fit it within a couple of panels. And this one is sort of the deconstructed, if we want to take a food analogy, the deconstructed storytelling of just the ingredients. Gun's been fired and cartridge has been ejected. It's gone through a window. It's hit its target. You know what's happened. The story's being told, and it just drew me in as to, okay, great. Now I don't know this book. What was the target? Who's doing the shooting? And so it's storytelling simplicity, and it's a great example of it. So that's why I picked this one as one of my top 10 picks for the week.
All right. It's great. I have to agree. And Stephen Feldman, a member, a 10-year member of CAF.
And Stephen posted a lot of art last week.
He definitely did.
There was one or two other pieces that made that first 200 list that had come from his gallery.
And hey, I'm going to just throw one thing out there, because
and Mike is saying it's a great book and a must read. So I guess now I have to.
That's true. Well, Michael reads some of the coolest stuff out there. I would agree. But hey, this is something that came up maybe about 10 days ago. There were people who have the Safari browser, and I don't know if anybody, because I don't think anybody in the chat uses Safari. But I had about 3 emails from people, because it was there was a weird Safari combo, OS combo issue that was happening, where everything in the art description in this white area disappeared, and you couldn't see it. And and I didn't change anything. But the only consistency was that it was Safari. I finally I went back to my friend Chris Haggard, the co-creator of CAF. I'm like, you're a Mac guy. I've got 5 Macs here, 5 iPhones, 3 iPads, and it doesn't happen. I can't see it. If I can't see it, I don't know what to do to fix it.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, it's working or it's disappearing on mine too. And I'm like, so we got on the phone, and what I ended up stripping out was, remember there used to be those cool social sharing buttons that would have Facebook and stuff underneath there. I mean,
right.
I think it's a Safari issue, but the only way I could fix it was to take that thing out. And I took it out, and then everything was back to normal. So for those of you who are using the social sharing buttons that used to be there, I'll come up with a separate solution for that. But yeah, it was just a weird problem. I had 2 people were just, they're very, they weren't yelling at me, but they were very disappointed, because it's like, yeah,
right.
if you can't read the description, you don't know what the price is. You don't know, you don't know anything about the piece. And
that's interesting. So most of the time, if I'm on a PC, I'm using Firefox, but I frequently use my iPad at home when I'm scrolling through CAF, and I didn't notice it.
Yeah, well,
recently. So
it worked fine for me, but I think it was actually 3 people, and they'd send me screenshots. So I'm like, I know they're not lying to me.
And I usually postpone the OS updates a couple of weeks to let them iron bugs out. And so I wonder if there was a recent update that I hadn't loaded yet that it was still functioning on my end.
Yeah, it's hard to say. But like I said, I literally had 10 devices here, and it worked on all of them, but it wasn't working for some people. So, but it's working now. So here, a Coletta inked Kalnin page from Batman Detective 467.
Yeah, and as the gallery owner says in his description, usually Coletta sometimes gets a bad rap for his inking, but I think he did great here. And who wouldn't like a Batman page with Batman chasing Batman? Because in this story, there's a Batman impersonator that Batman is after. And this page is from 1977, year, not issue. And that's right. As a kid, I was reading the Star Wars comics. They started coming out that year. Actually came out before the movie premiered in May of 77. Every summer we would go back to my grandparents for a couple weeks. And my uncle, Steve, my mom was the oldest of 6, and there was a 21-year age gap amongst them. So my uncle Steve was only 7 years older than I was. And so for that 2-week period, I would often read my Uncle Steve's stack of comics, starting around that time frame up until, he probably got out of high school and went off to college and stopped buying them. And so this is right in that area where I'd have been digging through his stack of comic books under his bed to read whatever Batman issues he'd picked up or something. And it just stuck that nostalgic piece for me as I was scrolling through for the week. And, jumping off a subway, running down tunnels, a little bit of action going on. So good Batarang panel. Got to enjoy it.
Yeah. And Rich Danny's notes the blue circles in there, and most of them have some white out in them. So it must have been like splatter of ink here or there that he didn't like. And so
a little cleanup or
a little cleanup,
change in the shading or something.
Yeah, or minor tweaks like that. You see them mostly up here, like every circle they were fixing the little balloons here around there. So that's interesting. Batarang bondage, says Rick Welch. All right. Hey, whatever you're into, man. That's
just don't step on the third rail.
That's right. Exactly. But congrats to Andy and Veronica on this one. Very nice page. Now, this one is in Glenn Crane's calf gallery. Get the like on there. A Bach piece. I mean, I don't think, have we ever picked a Bach page or artwork before? We picked so many other pieces by Fabian and a few other science fiction, fantasy, pulp artists of that era, but I don't believe we've ever picked a Bach before.
I'm not sure. And I was flipping through, and this one just caught my eye. I mean, just as a more artistic piece of art rather than a storytelling piece of art. If I recall the description, it was for a magazine, or it was a plate and a book, one or the other. And for some reason, the way the shading and the drape of the clothing, it has that. This was drawn, I believe it's dated 49, was published in 51, but it sort of has that older 30s works project administration, where they were supporting artists during the Depression. Mm-hmm. And some of those big works and railroad terminals and stuff are done. The figure work here really reminds me more of that era than it does post-war America. But just really eye-grabbing as I was scrolling through all of the art from last week, and was one I wanted to highlight.
No, it's a great selection here. I mean, I regret not being the first one to pick a Bach now on the channel. I think it's you, Jeff. Congrats for that. That's awesome. No, I mean, know, and you look at this piece. I wish we could. It's not clickable, so I can't get in any closer on it.
Yeah, I really wish this would have been one that had gotten a high-res scan.
Yeah, because I can imagine in the in the folds of the clothing that there's just a lot of noodling going on in there with the pencil or the ink work here. I can't tell if it's pen or ink. Did they mention in the description? Pen and ink. But I can only imagine how that detail looks up close, just in the folds.
Yeah, if you could really zoom in on any one of those fabric folds.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Well, so I'm glad you picked this one, and of course, Glenn. It's fitting to be in his calf gallery where a lot of this style and era of artwork resides. And thank you, everybody for helping us hit 80 likes. That's a good number. I like that. So let's see. Next up is someone's calf gallery named S.A. And Marcus has the first comment in, like he does a lot of times. And something written by Tom King, and it's Elsa Charatier. How do you pronounce that last name? How are you going to pronounce that last name, Jeff?
I would pronounce it like a French person would, and I'm not sure how that would be either, since I'm not French. Chartier?
Chartier?
Maybe.
Sounds about right. Yeah, I'll go with that.
I'm actually familiar with her work. She did some of the young adult books for the Star Wars license when it was at IDW, which has now just jumped over to Dark Horse. I'm not familiar with this book. But from what I could gather online with a quick search, it's either a multiverse or a time jumping female lead there. And in this 4 panels, she is jolting 4 different lovers in 4 different time periods. And so you've got a pirate era, a Western era, a disco era, and a more modern era. And one of the things that I've been drawn to for her work is I really like when there's an artist whose work almost stands better or does stand better uncolored in its original black and white. Mike Mignola, I think most of his stuff, when I see the original art, like the piece you showed earlier, I think that looks better in black and white than it would look with color. Right. Matt and Sean Philbach, who are, worked for Dark Horse for a long time, are now over at First Comics. They're locals here in Vegas. I've seen a lot of their original art. Half their stuff publishes in black and white anyway. I mean, there's just some artists whose work, usually it has this, I won't say more simplified style, but it's not as rendered. There's not as much shading. It's a lot of sharp blacks and whites. But I think she's in that same category where her stuff really stands well on its own in black and white. So,
no, I'm not familiar with her work, but I like it a lot. Even Marcus mentions kind of a Chris Samney sort of feel to the ink work. I can see why I'd say that.
Yeah. Oh, and Bruce Timm. Marcus mentions Timm. Yeah. That'd be another artist that I think a lot of that stuff would stand just as well black and white as it would be in colored.
And Khazra, who I think speaks French, Charretier.
Charretier.
Charretier. All right, I'll try to remember that, Khazra. Very very good pick here. So we've got 3 more here from Jeff. And let's see, get my like on this one. This is an Alfredo's calf gallery, and very fitting for the day.
There has to be a Star Wars piece if I'm on May the 4th. There's just no way around it. And Alberto put 2 pieces up by this artist last week, and for the life of me, I looked at this and thought that was someone going back and using an old school tent and laying it in, but this is all hand inked. Yeah, just fantastic cross hatching and all into the shading on the mask, getting the different levels of the mask, the flats, the curves, the dent up on the top. Yeah, I thought for sure that someone had laid down some tent and then was just cutting the negative spaces out of it.
Right. Yeah, no, this is pretty slick. I saw this one when it went up as well. I don't know if I would have picked it. Well, I probably would have if I would have been thinking about May the 4th, I guess. But no, this is a wonderful wonderful choice, and it was Gary Martin, right? Yeah, Gary Martin. Yeah, I love Gary's stuff. So you're looking at the detail on that. It is slick, and it does have a little Bollandy feel. I'll give you that, Rich. Black Viper Adorn just woke up. You fell asleep during our show earlier and then just woke up. Well, make sure you put in exclamation point enter, because it'll put you in the drawing for a piece of Star Wars art that we're going to do in the next few minutes.
Woohoo!
Yeah, but that's a good pick. Very good pick. And congrats, Alfredo. That's
that's a great one.
Let's see, 2 more pieces. So this is in the collection of Drew C., a 20-year calf member. Holy mackerel, Drew C. Congrats on that. Almost at 20 years. So we've got a Ron Lim, Al Milgrom Infinity War page here that I can click on.
So this past weekend was the amazing Vegas Comic-Con. And although Ian Saint lives in Sacramento, he is part of the local Las Vegas collector group because he's come down for about half of our get-togethers. And it just seems like he is part of us all the time. And Ian is a Guardians of the Galaxy collector. So I looked at a lot of cosmic art with him as we were walking around through the show. And so when I was scrolling through, this piece caught my eye, the Living Tribunal and Eternity. It's just a great, I think this is a title splash. Maybe it's not a title splash. But great splash wherever it shows up in the book. Oh, it's an end splash. Looks like maybe page 32. So, yeah.
No, very nicely done.
And, Guardians of the Galaxy, I think, is getting ready to premiere in a couple places with midnight showings very, very soon. So that'll be another fun thing for all of us this weekend.
Yes, I agree. Well, I always like Ron Lim's, Marvel cosmic work, and this is a nice one. It's a really good page. If indeed it is an end page, it's got to be the end page, right? Well, there's no description on it written here, but that's all right. So congrats to Drew on this one. And let's see, one more. This is an offbeat selection here.
It is.
I don't think we've selected a Family Circus strip piece ever before either. And this is in the collection of Lance Suarez. Lance is a good friend of Marcus, so he'll let Lance know that he made the cut tonight with this Bill Keane Family Circus.
So I picked this piece for two reasons. First one being, I am named Jeff after little Jeffy from the Family Circus cartoons. My mom was reading those in the newspaper every week, or every day, actually, because he had a daily. And for some reason, that name resonated with her. And so there's that sort of personal connection. So when I was scrolling through the however hundreds, thousands of thumbnails, this one caught my attention. And then when I clicked on it, I read that note that's inscribed at the bottom underneath the caption. And it says, Hell, Maury, egg salad is better than what we had in Vietnam. Love, Bill. And if you read the shirt on the character that Billy is eating lunch with, it says Maury. And Billy is sort of the cartoon version of Bill Keane.
Yeah.
And Maury is Maury Turner, his cartoonist friend who did Wee Pals, I think was his big long-running title. And Bill was a World War II veteran, had actually gone into the Army and was an Army cartoonist stationed in Australia during World War II, which is where he met his wife. And so when the Vietnam War came around, Bill went on USO tours to Vietnam along with some of the other cartoonists, and would just do meet and greets and draw little cartoons and sign autographs and stuff to just help with the morale with the troops. And so that little note from Bill to Maury at the bottom of that particular cartoon is what caught my eye. And I was like, that little piece of history that got captured there just adds another level onto this piece. Bill Keane's Family Circus, it ran for 5 decades. And I think his son Jeff took over, and it's still being done in some markets. It was never known for over-the-top humor. It was always very subtle, everyday, solid American life kind of humor. And that's the way Bill wanted it. But then he was able to do this little nod to a longtime friend. And then that little inscription, which I'm guessing at some point this had been gifted to Maury, just a nice little piece of history encapsulated now in the CAF gallery. So
No, this is fantastic. I love it. I read all that, and it just none of it sank in. So I'm glad that you went through all that. That's really fitting. And I hate to say it, this is one of the strips in the Sunday paper or whatever or even during the week that I almost wouldn't read because it just it never got me. It never drew me in. But
it was always
it.
very subtle, and it was easy just to gloss past.
Yeah.
So. And if it wasn't for the fact that there was that connection with my mom as well, that, it really caught my attention long enough to pause and then see the inscription and then, see what else was going on with this particular piece. So.
Well, you did a very good job. And again, this was in Lance Suarez's calf gallery. And, Lance has a pretty fun collection. And he lives very close to Marcus. They're always together. They're almost inseparable. So let's see.
They could be twins.
Close. NSN says, Michael says the Sundays were the best, especially when they showed their path throughout the day. Also,
right. Or the invisible character, not me, was always the one that did it.
Right. Exactly. Now I do remember that. Josh Fletcher says also probably not many black characters in those days in comics. That's true as well.
Yeah, I would actually be curious sort of what time frame Maury got introduced, especially because you'd probably compare him contemporaries with Charles Schultz as to when Charles Schultz introduced Franklin. So
interesting.
Yeah. Not easy at all. And that's a testament to all of you in the audience and all of the great art that you guys post in and out each and every week.
Yeah, you don't make our guests' job very easy. And I saw when Jason said Bill doesn't look through 1,000 pieces. I don't. I kind of look for things that I think other people are interested in. I kind of filter on the most liked artwork of the week. I look at things that get a lot of comments or get a lot of views, and I kind of distill my list based on that. So I'm more.
There's no other way that you could do it.
I'm looking at,
as I said, when I shifted I did the time sort, and then shifted or scrolled through the thumbnails. I'm just scrolling through thumbnails. I'm not zeroing in on the thumbnails. I'm just waiting for that thing that pops and catches my attention. And so, as we're going through stuff, that's the way you sort of narrow it down, and then you just kind of run with it from there. And oh, geez, I'm sorry about that. Ever since Matt Kennedy did that episode with the puppet, they're rampant here in Las Vegas.
I wasn't going to say anything. I was getting a little worried there. But hey, you know what time it is? We're going to do the giveaway now. So we'll give you like 30 more seconds to enter if you haven't already. You don't use the quotes around it. Just exclamation point enter in the chat. Hit and then submit that phrase into the chat. You'll be entered into the giveaway. There's 41 people currently entered in the giveaway. So do that. And again, I can remind everybody what artwork they're going to get. Let me pull that up on the screen. This was the Dennis Cowan penciled, and that's the blue lines from his pencils. And who was the inker on this one?
Roberto Poggi.
Roberto
Poggi.
Very nice. So and that's we've seen from the Cowan sales that he does that a lot. Where he pencils and just scans and sends the scans to his inkers.
Well, these days with shipping and the potential for things to get lost, delayed, damaged, and the time factor, it doesn't make any sense to physically mail pencils anymore.
Nope.
So I understand it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like I said, when I have the show with Dexter on Saturday, a quarter of the pieces are blue line. So this is the art, and we've jumped up to 49 people who are in it. So I think this is as good a time as any to pick our winner. So here, I'm going to go ahead and click choose a winner from our other admin here, and it should announce it in the chat. War.Lock, who I think came in number 47. So Warlock must be in the chat. So congrats to Warlock. There you go. I see them in there. So Warlock.
So if you just jumped in, you can find Jeffrey Wedding like getting married. That's my name and my gallery name on calf. You can email Bill if you can't find my gallery. Otherwise, just drop me a message through my gallery, and we'll work out getting that page shipped to you.
Here, you know what? Since I'm working fast here, I'll put Jeff's calf gallery link right in the chat. So those of you who aren't familiar with Jeff, you've never been in his calf gallery. Now his calf gallery is linked in the chat. You know what you should do
Be prepared some Star Wars stuff.
Yes, you should go over there tonight and leave a few comments in Jeff's calf gallery. He's done a fantastic job for us tonight, and he's giving away art tonight. You're very welcome, Warlock. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. And
absolutely,
yeah, that was good. So now, I've got 7 minutes to run through my set if I want to get done before midnight. It is what it is.
You can go 10 minutes after.
I'll go as quick as
it wouldn't be that long,
because I do think I actually had 12 picks. But I don't know why, because I liked all the pieces that I went through. But here, so let me show.
I know I sent you 12 just in case we had 2 that overlap.
Maybe I did the same. I was on the same wavelength.
I had alternates. Yeah, just in case.
All right, so here are mine, and all good picks, I think. So a Tim Sale, Batman Long Halloween piece. This is an Andrew G's calf gallery. Andrew G has a phenomenal calf gallery. If you have,
so this piece made my first cut.
Did it? Well, yeah,
I remember looking at this one.
I mean, as a DPS, this thing is gorgeous. I mean,
yeah,
just the intensity in the piece. I mean, Tim Sale. I like a lot of Tim Sale stuff, and some stuff I'm not crazy fond of. But I mean, I love Long Halloween, and almost every page I've ever seen, I just love it to death. And this is just a great action page, and this doesn't even do it justice. I have to look at it like this. So, man, it's stunning. I mean, in person, this has to be just an amazing piece of art to be looking at. I mean, I can't even imagine how cool this is. I would love to own this page.
Yeah, it's a great one.
And Nick Barucci says it's gorgeous too. So there you go.
Just the energy coming out of that horse's expression. I mean, that is a frenetic action sequence right there.
I agree. So congrats to Andrew adding another great piece to his calf. And next up, Wolvie Fan. I got to see this piece in person here at the house when Adam Kubert was over. And again, these are like 20 by 32, something like that. Just totally cool work, just from a scale size. But then, he's drawing the logos on a lot of these like he did here. And it just makes, I mean, these look like movie posters. So just from,
it does,
Wolfie's got a good scanner. So just the scale alone makes these pieces so unique. And I was just happy to see this posted. Jealous, because I know that Adam's not really selling these. And I think, didn't Wolvie Fan have a Hulk that we featured a week ago? And now he gets the Wolverine.
That sounds right.
These are the only 2 that he was able to pick up, and we had to honor them both.
Yeah, I got to flip through a couple of pages that Adam had in a portfolio. He was at the show over the weekend.
Oh, right.
Said he really enjoyed doing the show with you, by the way, and is looking forward to doing it again. So
I hope we have him on again.
Yeah,
that was fun.
I think that would be good.
Yeah,
he did a lot of
sketching too, didn't he? He did a lot of sketching at the show.
Yeah, he had a lot of commissions. It looked like going.
That's good.
Yeah. There was that was usually a line most of the times I walked by. So, yep.
Good. Well, great piece here, and Wolvie Fan just adds to his already.
Oh yeah, and as Ian mentioned, he had a DPS that Chris Norick. Well, that's all we were talking about. Was it had a panel in the DPS where the Thing and Wolverine were playing poker together. That I think Chris would have loved. And by the time we walked back around the aisle one more time, it had already disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
doesn't
sold
surprise
quick.
me.
Yeah, I believe that was a Friday evening sale. So,
wow. Well, my next pick is in Glenn Brunswick's calf gallery. This is Sam Keith, of course, Wolverine cover, and I went Wolverine to Wolverine. I thought these were 2 kind of interesting choices to put together. I mean, Sam Keith stuff is always crazy, and I mean, I love the detail from this period of his work. I mean, I've never owned a piece of his, seen a lot of it. And this is a great example of his work. So I'm jealous that Glenn's got this thing. It's I mean, I don't know. The more I look at it, I mean, it's just an amazing piece of art. And I had to feature it, even though it's another Wolverine cover back to back.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. See, this is like Snort picking the thing. I'm allowed to pick my X characters. So MCP cover there, and now we move over to I tried to give DC some love, and it's a Jim Lee. Now I know I don't pick a lot of Jim Lee. I actually purposely avoid picking Jim Lee artwork a lot just because he's so popular, to everybody. But and it got an Albert Moy scan here, but I always like this cover. It's something about the the jigsaw puzzle pattern on it. Just for me, the imagery on this one was just kind of like a classic kind of pulp covers, slash, DC's finest type of thing. I don't know. I've always liked the imagery on it, and so I thought this was would be a fair pick to do a 20th anniversary Hush cover, and there you have it. I mean, I avoid Jim Lee a lot. Everybody knows that, but here I finally picked one. I think the last one I picked was probably something from his X-Men run. So I don't pick too many of these. But
if you're gonna deviate from the norm, this was a good one to highlight. Thank
you very much, Joe.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next up, this one was just I saw it, and this is in Rich Cirillo's calf. Yeah, Rich Cirillo picked this up at Wigan Comic Con, and I thought, it's just nice to see Adam at a con and doing work. And I thought, I'm just going to feed, I mean, he could draw anybody, and, so they're easy to pass over. So I picked this specifically because, Adam has been away from shows for a long time. And I just thought I'm sure Rich was thrilled to death. I don't know if this was done prior to the show or if this was one of the pieces that maybe he got to do at the show, but it's just great to have, new work out there by him. And it's stuff like this, commission stuff. So this was fun. I'm sure Rich was happier than hell to add this thing to his
absolutely.
Yeah. See, I'm kind of jealous. Let's see, did he say like, he hasn't been to a con in a while. Absolutely. That's the thing. He hasn't been in a while. Nope, he didn't say whether he bought it, whether it was a commission done at the show or prior. But congrats, Rich. Then Kevin Nolan. I mean, I've had Kevin Nolan on the brain since I'm going to be doing the show with him in June. And I saw this one in there, and now I forget whose calf gallery. Oh, it's T-Shen's. Yep. I remember, T-Shen wrote that, this was something he was after for a while to get something from Kevin, was able to work this out. And damn, this is great. If he brings a few of these to the show in June, we'll all be very happy.
Yeah, they'll go quick.
Yeah. No, without question. But again, you basically got all the defenders except for Submariner right here from the original run. So I mean, that's everything in here is classic Kevin Nolan style. I mean, that Hulk. I mean, you can't not look at the Hulk and think Kevin Nolan first, right? Just because of the eyes and the forehead and the hair. But yeah, this is awesome, and I hope we get a few of these in June. That'll make for a fun. He's under the rubble, says Rich Danny's. Yeah.
Well, and you have to appreciate good rubble, don't you?
You do.
I mean, if you're going to appreciate bricks, you also have to appreciate good rubble.
Yeah, this is fun too. I mean, he's got the foot and Doc Strange cape breaking it, and Doc
Surfer's head.
Surfer's head. I mean, that's just fun. That's just something that most people probably wouldn't do, and he's just added these little touches in there that makes this illustration all the more fun. So
yeah, so they're just popping right out of frame.
Yeah, and Rich Danny says Nolan does kick-ass rubble.
That's
you got it. You got it. And Caesar was saying
I don't know.
What's that?
Is Subby's foot sticking up out of there somewhere? Did he hide him in the? Is he hidden in the rubble or peeking out a window?
He probably is peeking.
Yeah, I don't see him. But
he's taking a powder break. But Caesar did say that the Adam Hughes piece was a pre-done piece, and that's what I would have thought too, Caesar. Because I mean, I would assume everything I heard about the show was that Adam was pretty busy the whole time. So my guess, if he's really busy, he's probably doing those profile pieces, right, for fans. If he's got a long line, he's not going to have time to do a Copic marker piece. So makes sense. I'm glad Rich got it. Rich has
I'm sure that took some time to do that that rendering and detail on her face. So
Yes.
I'm glad it was pre-done.
Well,
And it
here
wasn't
is-
rushed.
That is
Yeah.
true. And now, Felix, I picked a piece from Felix and Ian Bertram commission. This is, of course, from Aliens. I know that Felix has a number of Aliens commission-y kind of things out there. Ian Bertram, of course, just an amazing, amazing artist. I thought this thing was I mean, I don't know. This thing blew my mind when I saw it. I was like, damn. I mean,
This
I
one made it down to that cut of 25.
See,
on
so
my
we were
list.
close.
Yeah,
Very
we
close.
were close on a couple.
But yeah, you look at this. I mean, everything about it. I mean, it's funny. There's just all these little subtle things in here that make me like the piece, and they're not even like directly related to the figures, right? I mean, I just love the way, you know, he's kind of feathered in this whether, you know, the groundwork here is just. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense the way he's drawn it.
But those two horizontal bands just
The
sort of add
bands,
that
right?
that energy to the piece without just being floor there.
Exactly. I mean, it's just funny. I mean, because the more I looked at it, it was like I love the character rendering, but I love that graphic element. You're right. The two bands do a lot. I didn't really note that when I was looking at it, but yeah. And now that I see it, because the bottom band here is what goes into that feathering in the ground. I mean, going
Right.
forward, it just like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but visually and graphically, I mean, this thing is this is stunning. I mean, and I think it's pretty. It's got, oh yeah, wall power, mega wall power, 2 foot by 3 feet. Wow, I didn't realize it was that large, but doesn't surprise me. So congrats, Felix, on that one. All right, we did go over the midnight time frame. I'm sorry, everybody. Now this might have been like the worst scan out there, but I chose to pick it anyway. This is whose calf gallery was this? Jose L. And they've been a member for a while too, over 17 plus years. Not too bad. But you know, this is a Wrightson, and it's from Swamp Thing 10. I wish it was a better scan. I mean, I don't even think this isn't even the minimum. So this was
Right.
done at a size that's smaller than the minimum that we allow. I should leave this window open and just email him back. I mean, he's a premium member, and be like, man, you got to get a better scan for this image, because I you know, I actually pulled up, I went to one of those Read Comics online so I could see the image better, and I just loved it. I want to see a bigger scan of this. Chris tends to pick out pieces where he wants to email the person for a better scan. So this was me noting that I want to ask Jose to get a better scan posted.
That's right.
there.
We want to be able to read those headstones.
Hey, Stacy's watching tonight.
Well, hello, Peanut.
The force is with you. She's wondering why you're not home yet for dinner.
She knows I'll be there soon, and I'm sure she has already fed herself and the dogs. So
Well, there you go.
they're hanging out on the couch.
Well, so I'm going to email Jose after the show and ask him for a better scan, because what year is this? It's probably not written in the description, but at any rate, you know that this thing would be really, really nice to see in a large image. So
Right.
that is my reminder on that one. Now, Ed Rizzo, I think Ed Rizzo was at Wicked Comic Con too. I don't know, was this a pickup from there? I don't know. Nathan S is the owner of this one. It's a Daredevil and Elektra piece. Always love Rizzo stuff. You know, I mean, what's not to like, right? And then to get him doing a couple Marvel characters as well in a commission, to me, that's even better. I love the perspective on the piece. You know, I'm a sucker for anything Daredevil and Elektra anyway. And then
Right. That's a unique angle. And then the lighting, nighttime lighting, which is actually inverse for the sky, but it works.
Yep.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree. Nice contrast, says Rich. I agree. I mean, I like this is a gorgeous piece, and
I'm sure this one caught Nick's attention
yeah,
with Daredevil.
He's a big Daredevil fan.
Yeah.
All right, well, another winner there, and I've got a couple more here, but I'm going to go quick, everybody. I promise. So we got an Earl Norem. This is the one I picked as the show cover. I mean, come on, Earl Norem. I've shown a lot of Earl Norem artwork.
This one made my short 25. I mean,
yeah,
how could it not?
Right, and okay, I can't click on it, so I'd like to see it in more detail. But the thing is, this scan is just right, size wise, right? But the colors are great on this thing. Earl Norem just had he was a great painter all around, and I look at this and it's like he's, even the background. Look how, I mean, he's not using like any blacks in there. Everything's a color. He's just letting his skill as a painter, make this piece be what it is. And again, it's totally fun, right?
Right.
To begin with, at the end of the day, to have, Mars Attacks kind of piece. I don't know if this was, because I think Earl did some trading card artwork or a few other things for the Mars Attacks stuff that was coming out. But again, it's just fun. And what is this? Was it really a classic illustrated? Classics obliterated. Okay, it's an IDW cover, so even better. And look at that. So this is a bigger.
But I'm guessing that wasn't new, that they were reusing an older piece for that cover, because that looks like it may have been one of the trading cards.
It really did. That's what initially. Honestly, that's what I thought. I never clicked on it to see there was. It was from an IDW cover. But anyways, I mean, I love Earl Norham's work. He's one of those artists that I've always wanted to own something by, and I've never owned a single thing by him. But he's just so skilled, and he ran the gamut of doing different stuff. I mean, from Classics Illustrated type artwork,
right,
to war thing, art pieces, to stuff like this, and he could do it all. I mean, and he painted Marvel magazine covers too. So I mean, again, just an incredibly talented guy, always painting, and you have to admire that. May the 5th, Mars Attacks. Ack. All right, Jason.
And Marcus says the story's in the description, so I'll have to check it out later.
I will too. I did not read that.
Yeah.
All right, 2 more pieces. I guess I did really do the 12. So here, I don't know. It's classic Kirby. And
I looked at one too.
Tales of Suspense. This is in Ron Sonenthal's CAF gallery. Just fun stuff, right? I mean, when you look at the machinery and the costumes, and it's a cap page, but I love, every one of these panels is just gorgeous and rings of Kirby and all the reasons I love his work. And I really love the top panel more than anything. I just love those guys, in the costumes, and look how wiggly and
MODOK's henchman.
Yeah, exactly. But you look at the machinery in the back. I mean, it's not even like, it's not even drawn crisp like metal machinery should be. But we don't care. It's
there's
Kirby.
No sharp angles there. There's no 90-degree corners.
Right. It's just I love every aspect of that. This first panel. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
So congrats to Ron on that. Ron has one hell of a CAF gallery too.
Great page.
And last but not least, I mean, I had and I thought about leaving this one out, but I love Butch Guice, and I think I mean, we've all kind of talked about it. His work, he seems a guy I admired his work 20 years ago, and I feel like the stuff he's doing today is even better than his work from 20 years ago. I mean, this is The Question. It's just a really, all about it. I mean, the water
and
rippling in the
rain will always get a second look.
Right.
And here it's superb.
Yeah, I had to go back to this one a couple times because I wanted to leave it out because I was over my 10 and I knew what I wanted for the 10, but I just was like, dang it, I just can't leave this one out because it's just too nice. I mean, the lighting on the character, there's lightning in the background, so he's trying to play around and think about how he can do dramatic lighting. And
the rain switching from white highlight on dark to dark streaks on white, and then there's that little bit of swirl indicating the wind right in front of his legs, where you get the little swirl in the rain pattern.
Yeah,
all really subtle, but absolutely fantastic.
Nope, I agree. And this is in Shemp's CAF gallery, and Shemp has an amazing CAF gallery for those of you who've not spent any time in it, so you definitely should. But yeah, this was that was the one I had to add in there as an extra one. So congrats to everybody's artwork we featured tonight. Lots of great picks, I would say.
A well-deserved dozen.
Exactly. Thank you so much. So Jeff, this was fun. You've got, I'm the first of many shows that you're going to be doing over the next few days. I mean, are you on with Nick tomorrow?
I don't think so. I'll probably hop in. I know Michael NSN is going to be on with Ruben on Sunday.
Show, right? Yep.
So I think I'm just going to hop on. I sent Nick all the details for the page he has, not wanting to ship to Canada and back potentially. I just sent a scan to Ruben. So I think I'm just going to hop on and introduce it, and he's going to let it run during the interview. And then I don't need to take away Mike's thunder. He's going to have good stuff on. So,
Of course.
and then Kavi, we'll probably jump on for an hour and just ramble about Star Wars stuff like we do.
You and Kavi, I know, can do that. So
yeah,
so fun. Well, I'll probably tune in to your Monday show too. I think I've got that night off, I believe.
I don't think he's picked a time yet. So I'm sure, if you go to Comic Books NYC,
Yep.
Eventually he'll have that notification on, as will Ruben. And, we all know Nick's EXP stuff is all up there and ready to go at 4:00 my time on Fridays. So
7 o'clock Eastern, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing this, and congrats to Warlock for winning the artwork tonight too.
Absolutely.
That's fun, sharing the hobby in many different ways. I mean, and that's why you won that award this year, Jeff, because you are a caring man. And it's OA karma. If you spread good things, then good things come back, and I think we have all found that to be the case. And so it's my little bit, and it also makes it fun for me with the Star Wars high holidays, as they were. Mm-hmm.
For at least this week and maybe a couple more weeks in May. So so thanks for having me. I'm glad I could give Chris his first Thursday off this time. And again, congrats, Warlock. Just reach out to me or contact Bill and he can put you in touch with me, and we'll try to get that page off to you in the next week or so.
Perfect. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in as well. We had a lot of fun, and it was nice to have Felix on. That was kind of a last minute addition, and but again, all these things add to the show to make it interesting. So if anybody has questions about the OA Expo next year, please hit me up. I'm happy to answer questions. We're not really ready to preview too much on the website yet, but we'll be sprinkling information over the next 3 weeks.
I know Stacy and I are trying to start formulating our plan on heading over to Florida for the show.
I hope you're going to spend a couple extra days, I hope, right, to go to the parks?
Well, her aunt is about an hour east of Orlando.
Okay.
So I think she's going to maybe hang out with her aunt and uncle while I do those couple of days at the show, and then she'll catch back up with me and go run through the parks or something. Yeah, we're gonna make a 5 or 6 day trip or something out of it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that was what I wanted people to do,
which was your intent, and so I'm gonna
I hope
take advantage of
people do that. If you have family, or if you fly the family down after the show or whatever, this is an opportunity, I think, to take a vacation and do something enjoyable. You can't bring your family to most cons. This would
right.
be one that you can, and I hope people do. And you'll have to let me know. You're going to go to the parks after the show, I imagine, right?
That's kind of where we're leaning at the moment. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll have to coordinate somehow.
Because we figured weekdays probably less folks in the park.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, and maybe beginning of the week more so than people that would.
Thursday
or Friday. So.
I might do a mini golf with Bill one time too. There's enough mini golf courses around Orlando. I bet a few people would like to see if they could beat me at my own game. But yeah, we'll see.
So the OA Expo could have the Chips Memorial mini golf tournament as part of it.
Yeah, that could be fun. That could definitely be fun. All right, everybody. Well, again, we appreciate it. We're so happy that you guys tuned in with us tonight. It's these shows are always fun for me to have everybody on and do a guest appearance like this. Give Smart away just makes it all the more special. Jeff, enjoy the rest of your weekend celebrating Star Wars, and we'll putt for dough. Golf at City.
That's right.
All right, everybody. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you again.
Have a good weekend.
Don't forget, Saturday at 4:00 with Dexter Vines.